Well, everybody, a warm welcome back on this fine evening for yet more league racing. We can't wait. And I tell you what, the Ironman League back again. 100% races. And it really has taken over the imagination of many viewers, drivers, teams alike. Everyone's getting involved. And we're looking forward to it. We're also loving it too. My name is, of course, George Morgan, your commentator. Alongside me, as always, the one, the only, Lewis McGlade. Lewis, we're back. And we're at COTA as well.
Yeah, indeed. I've not been fired yet after everything that I said last round. Don't worry, they've tried. They've really tried. But
they tried.
I was sat. I'm not
here
leaving
you sit.
the commentary booth. I've stayed. Exactly. This is going to be slightly different. Obviously, the ones that we've done before. Of course, we're not. This is not a championship round. Obviously, this one wasn't supposed to happen. But we've brought it back. Obviously, with the other issues, not going to go into it. It's fine. But we are going to race tonight. That's the important bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, first of all, I think before we really get stuck in to the nitty-gritty, we have, of course, got a driver lineup to take you through. Vastly different in many ways to what you've seen before. New faces at Mercedes. Well, what new face at Mercedes, I should say. Danny Berejnay, of course, lining up as standard, of course, finishing second back at Brazil. Jaba Hidegas steps in as a reserve. Martin Ido steps in the Red Bull with Ben Chilez as well alongside him. You were very delighted about this one now, Lewis, because Daniel McSala's back. He is back. The curry is back. Norbert Eisner, Chicken Tikka is back. Norbert Eisner is alongside him as well. So that's two reserve drivers that are stepping up. Thomas Ronha as well. Victor in F1 Esports in Event 1, also in the Alfa Romeo. Istvan Tarkani as well, racing alongside him. Ben Chabo Konye, who came third at Brazil last time out with a stellar performance on hard tyres to go long on his stint, with Ulas Ozyildirim as well in the seat alongside him too. Of course, remember, an F1 Esports talent also racing in ESL R1 for FaZe Clan. Daniel Bench as well alongside Gagurli Tabos, as well as Zoltan Boda and Milan Mayer in the AlphaTauri. Gabor Vajda and David Vincher lining up for Aston Martin. Zolt Timbush and Gabor Tveki. I'm so sorry I butchered that name. Christoph Uvegas lines up for Williams with Will Gibson alongside him as well. But there we have it, folks. Those are the runners taking part in that next one. Can you translate that one, Lewis?
Which one?
Gabor Tvetiik? Is that how you would pronounce it?
Absolutely not a clue. I am so sorry.
We could be in for a real treat here, folks. But nonetheless, it's going to be great. Some really
McLaren driver.
The McLaren driver, yes. But nevertheless, we're looking forward to some great racing. And yes, we are racing around COTA, the home of the United States Grand Prix. And it happens to be raining as well, Lewis.
Yeah, indeed. We've been given the weather forecast. Again, I completely forgot it literally about 2 minutes ago, and genuinely it is in through one ear and out the other. But we do know that I think it's going to start dry-ish towards the start of the race, and it will rain probably around about halfway. And it's supposed to rain quite heavily, so we might see those wet tyres come out before it heads to overcast at the final portion. So there's that at least to talk about.
Yeah, well, we're going to move straight across, guys, because obviously it is one-shot qualifying. And immediately, as we see Uvegas Christoph makes his way down the straight, or Christoph Uvegas, as we know him as, make his way up towards turn 1. Currently second fastest, actually tantalisingly close to P1 as well. As we see Thomas Ronha disqualified from the session, immediately seen going the wrong way. So he'll be starting from the back of the grid, as well as Danny Berejnay as well.
Yeah, which this is a normal thing, and no one's going to panic. This is a normal thing, especially when we're talking of a little bit of a fun one this time. That these drivers, they're obviously the ones that we normally see race towards the front end of F1 sim race or anything like that. Yeah, they get themselves DQ'd, so they start at the back of the field and work their way up to the front. That's what's going to make for an exciting evening, I think. I'm disappointed no one's tried qualifying on slicks, though.
Yeah, I would have expected at least the guys at the bottom end of the order to perhaps even try it. Zoltan Boda's out, Ulas Ozyildirim, Milan Mayer, Ben Chabo Konye, Danny Berejnay, as well as Thomas Ronha. They're all out as well. Danny McSala, commiserations, Lewis. He's out as well, down in 18th place. Ben Chilez still at the top. Untouched. Gab, though, flexing a little bit in P2. He's now dropped to P3 with Istvan Tarkani now moving up into second. A lot of movement happening in the top 10 as now Jaba Hidegas, I think, has had an issue. He's dropped into the bottom 5, losing Delta, as now we see Ben Chilez make his way through the next slow section through this next left-hander. Very tricky circuit around the United States here, Lewis, and a lot of corners that can throw you off.
Yeah, especially the one they're about to come up to, turn 19. We've seen it cause a massive amount of problems, especially when it comes to track cuts. Do remember they only get the one lap in this session as well, so hopefully they're all going to work their way through. It's really nice from Ben Silas as well, so I think there's not going to be any problems for him.
Yeah, no, not at all. Makes his way around the final corner out of turn 20, down the straight, and will post the fastest lap so far and will be pole. The only driver in the 149s, and it's a 149.589, a blistering lap, considerably faster than Gab. I think over 6/10 of a second, oh no, 5.5 of a second near enough the difference. But he did not get the purple third sector. That went to the Ferrari in third place. We'll take you through the running order. Ben Chilez in first, Gab in second, Eisner in third. We then have Vajda Gabor in fourth. We then have David Vincher in fifth place. A double Aston Martin fraternity in the top 5. Teambo then in the McLaren in 6th. We then have Istvan Tarkani in 7th with Fletcher Marchi in 8th. We then have Jaba Adegas in 9th with Danny in 10th. We have Christoph Uvegas in 11th place, Sultan Boda in 12th, Ulas Ozyildirim in 13th. Milan Meyer starts in 14th with Ben Jabo Connie 15th, Danny McSala 16th, Danny Berejne in 17th, Thomas Ronhar 18th, Talabos in 19th, and Will Gibson starting at the very, very back of the grid.
Yeah, well, I say, I think the amount of drivers not doing a lap there, we're in for an interesting one, an exciting one, I'm sure. And like I say, the start of the race is going to be very tricky. Glad that Gabor Titiek, no idea, that he's joined as Gab, so that we don't butcher his name too
anymore.
Much. So we can actually, we don't have to call him the McLaren driver. It's excellent.
The McLaren driver, we just call him Gab, so it's fine. I think we called him Gab last time anyway, so it's all it's all good. Yeah. Good news for those that enjoy dry racing. It is dry as of now, and we are awaiting the cars to hit the grid. But another strong showing, I think, obviously from the likes of Gab, drivers such as that. I think obviously showing again the promise that we saw last time at Brazil, because he was fairly in and amongst the top 10 placings and really giving his best. Plenty of others though to watch. We all know though a lot of these are famed drivers that like to start from the back and fight their way forward. I mean, you can't write off names like Thomas Ronhar and Danny Berejne, can you?
No, I still kind of think this is definitely a battle between them. Maybe even a little bit of Benchabo Conye as well. Chuck him in into the mix. But yeah, with how these races work, with the rain looming on the horizon about halfway through the race, maybe a little bit earlier than that, you just don't really know how these races unfold. Again, they are 100% distant races. This is one of the things that that Ronhar posted on Twitter just before we went live. He said, I've never done a 100% league race before. So into unknown territory even for a driver like him.
It is absolutely right indeed. And for many of them, it will be an adjustment. Generally, the more common used format is the full quali 50% race out. Look, obviously this is vastly different, but then that's why the drivers like it. You know, it's a bit of a change of pace, keeps it interesting, and obviously given the space in time where perhaps top level competitive competition isn't going on, it's a great opportunity for these drivers to really get stuck into something. And I know that Timbo is someone who is part of the professional side of F1 Esports. He knows very much how the competition works. You know, he himself as well built on community and manages a fantastic league in his own right that I've been part of in the past that has obviously run great competitions on this particular game. Again, this has been something that has really captured the attention of many drivers, and it really does empower drivers in terms of strategy.
Well, I mean, look at last time. Obviously, when we went racing it into Lagos, Jarno Motmir went for a differing strategy, went a little bit longer on some tyres, so we had some tyres for the end of the race that he then charged his way back up to bench Darbo Conye. He took the race victory. Honestly, fantastic. And it was so good to see the differing strategies. And that's what you get in the 100% distant race. Yeah, sure, you can get some differing strategies in the 50% races, but for the most part, it's not as crazy and as unpredictable, especially when you chuck some weather into it. That's what makes things extra exciting. Yeah,
we had like 4 stops minimum, I think, on that occasion. Yeah. We do, in fact, have the race now, folks. So if we move across, all 5 lights are lit. And it's pedal to the metal. And it is go, 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 go. Ben Chilez getting away well. Immediately trying to cut off Gab, who goes down the inside in towards turn 1. But Iles does enough to hold position here. Eisner as well looking for that second place. Runs wheel to wheel with the McLaren heading through turns 2 and turns 3. Gab has done enough to hold on to second. Tarkani moves up into 5th as well with Flex Marschi as well, battling it out with David Vincher for that 7th spot. Hidegas in 9th as well. Ulas Ozyildirim already up to 10th place with Ben Jabo Connie also up to 13th. A positive start for Hassia, Lewis.
Yeah, a bit of side-by-side that is between Hidegas and Ozyildirim. Those two going side-by-side. It's the Haas driver, Ozyildirim, getting to the outside. A little bit of a pinch there as they head their way down the hill. Now into the hairpin in this long back straight. You can see a couple more dives. I think that's bench Darbo Conye fending one on Christoph Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely right. They're side by side again, though this time Ozyildirim the upper hand, heading down the long back straight towards turn 12. As now we see more action further down. Another Haas starting to make waves. Benjabo Connie again lifts his head and moves into 11th place. Another look around the outside. Christoph Vegas trying to perform miracles as well. Danny Berejne gaining places by the plethora at the very start. 13th now on the grid. Remember, folks, he pulled off a sensation at the start at Brazil, and once again, side by side with Christoph Vegas heading through the next left-hander again. It's Williams against, well, the Mercedes-powered Williams against the Mercedes itself. Through the hexagonal curves they go as they make their way out of turn 18. Oh, they come together and around they go.
Yeah, but they'll be pointing in the right direction once they depart the corner, so it's just a little bit of extra tyre wear for them, a bit of extra heat in that one, a bit of a shame for them. Once again, possible race strategies popping up at the bottom. I'm not going to give you any credit for that this time, George. I know you've given it away. You don't control any of those graphics. You're just making it up as you go along. The game's stepping in, though, to give us some information.
Yeah, you can't praise my heroics on that one, unfortunately,
no, I can't.
Lewis.
And I won't.
No, and I'm sure you would rather not anyway. Still here gets 15th away from Will Gibson as he takes that place away. AlphaTauri trying to move on together, obviously starting 12th and 14th. There's been a downwards turn for them, at least in the early stages, but expected because Zoltan Boda starting on the hard tyres and is the sole driver doing that at this stage. Again, we see the possible race strategies flicking up at the bottom. Quite an aggressive strategy there at the top. If you go for the triple soft phase, naturally not recommended, I would say, here at COTA.
I'll tell you what the aggressive thing is in game is that it is the broadcast director saying, come on, we need to see this once more. No, please don't. David Vince as well, and Gabor Vajda going side by side with Ulas Ozyildirim making his way past. So obviously the two Aston Martins fighting amongst themselves. There's a Haas driver that's trying to work his way through to the outside, coming down to the hairpin.
Yeah, there was a side-by-side there, a little moment. Gabor Vajda was very lucky not to lose the car, has done enough to stay on board, and David Vincher can now career away his teammate. Further back, though, Benjabo Connie with the outside move now as he looks to try and flex, heading through towards the hexagonal curves. Heading out of turn 15, they're going to make their way through this next double right-hander. Turn 17 and 18 to come, and the Haas is going to try and force his way through. Benjabo Connie with a fantastic move, and it opens the door as well for Hidegas to also move into 8th.
I think Timbo had been round as well. You can see a little bit of a look down the inside at the background. There's Ronhal working his way through 9th position. Safety car has been deployed, though, the first one of the day. And the safety car makes its way out onto the circuit.
Yeah, safety car out now in the very early stages. Lap 3 of 56. And unfortunately, as you so rightly say, it's the pits for Timbo, who no doubt, I'm sure, is looking to get... Well, no damage necessarily repaired on the car, but he has swapped tyres. He's opted for an early change from softs onto the mediums.
I think it was because, so I'm assuming he had quite a large spin at some point on the circuit, which is kind of maybe what caused the safety car, though, to be fair. It probably is the likes of Norbert Eisner, the one that's actually caused the safety car to come out. That's why the Ferrari driver is in the pit lane. But for Timbo here, it clearly was backwards at some point. I think it was around like the sort of like turn 16, 17, 18 section. And to be fair, if you're already at the back of the field, you could have a safety car come out, you might as well get rid of the soft tyres and go onto the mediums.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. At this stage, Ulas Ozyildirim, just want to praise his performance so far. What a start. 13th is where he started. He's up into 5th place, and he's got the fastest lap as well in the early goings of this race around the United States circuit of COTA. Currently sat in 5th, and not far away from Marchi Flexus as well in 4th place. So he's doing all the right things here, Ulas, and he should be praised as well for his raw abilities. He was near enough a dominant performer in challenges going back earlier on this year, and also competing in GT3s with FaZe Clan in ESL R1, but was also laying down his expertise on the F1 game again in this season's F1 Esports Championship.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's done a lot, hasn't he, in the world of sim racing and such this year, and you know, we've had a great time commentating. I've had a great time meeting him. Lots of good chats. Got a good head on his shoulders, and like I say, when you see drives like what he's put on so far today, we're only a couple of laps into this race, and still has marched his way up the order. A potential chance of victory. We'll have to wait and see. The Aston Martin coming into the pit lane there of David Vincer. So interesting to see someone that high up the order coming into pit lane.
Yeah, very strange. That's David Vincher coming into the pits on the medium tyres. I don't think he's alone either, because in comes his teammate Gabor Vajda. Now he's serving what looks to be a penalty during his pit stop phase, which is going to hold up his teammate. So what was a great start for Aston Martin in terms of where they qualified. Remember, they were both in the top 5. They are now towards the rear, the pair of them. And unfortunately for Gable Vajda, because he had to stack behind his teammate, it's cost him a lot of time, and they're now being split by Danny Berejnay.
Berejnay, interestingly, has Timbo been back in? Yeah, Timbo has been back in the pit lane. I was going to say, I thought Timbo was trying to get rid of the medium tyres, but I guess now, yeah, he has gone back onto the softs. Maybe he was trying to get rid of the requirement, the mandated requirement, obviously, to use 2 compound tyres, even though we've got some rain coming on the horizon anyway. That's a bit odd call. Maybe the softs are the ideal tyre to be on, but then everyone's on the medium. I don't know. That's a weird call to come straight back in.
It is a weird call. I mean, we did see on the expected pit stop strategies that, you know, triple softs in the opening stint. I think, to be honest with you, given the amount that these drivers love to push their cars, I think doing that is a little bit of a mistake, because obviously tyre wear is going to be a major factor here at COTA. I would not be surprised to see, should we say, multiple stops here that could, you know, reach the possibilities of 3 and 4, much like we saw last time when the wet weather came down at Brazil. I mean, sometimes we saw even 6, maybe even 7 last time. But here again, on this occasion, I mean, you'd expect to see cars coming in maybe on 3 different occasions, and Timbo's already done it twice, so expect him to come in, I would say, at least on another 2 occasions, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I mean, this is a fairly high tyre wear circuit, mostly because of the, you know, sections like this, when you're going through that sort of double hairpin section, you know, they're kind of not really hairpins, but, you know, obviously the load you put on the front left going through this this corner, the load you're putting on both sides of the car as you're going through the opening sector. There is quite a heavy tyre wear circuit. That's not even really including the wear you're putting down when you're going through the traction zones. Obviously, down the hill from T1, it's not that bad there. But like through the final corner as well, as you're driving out of that one, obviously onto the back stretch, you're putting a lot of load on the rear tyres. It is quite high on the tyre wear. Don't get me wrong, you could do quite a lot to save the tyres in the car for them, but still, it is fairly heavy on that one. So that's why, you know, I guess being on the freshest tyres at the moment maybe makes sense. I don't know. It just feels like a bit of an odd call.
Yeah, it is a bit of a strange call, but yeah, nonetheless, I mean, it is what it is. You know, at the end of the day, they've all got their own missions. Timbo obviously knows what he's doing. I mean, he's a very experienced racer. He's been, you know, part of the fold now, part of the F1 community now for quite a long time. Currently sees himself position where he is at the very tail end of the field, but very soon he will lift himself, given the fact that he is on those on that faster compounded tyre, and despite being under safety car procedure, obviously that will help his tyre wear to a great degree, because he will not be pushing the rubber so much. But, you know, at the same time as well, when he gets the restart going and others that are on, should we say, medium compounded tyres, he'll be able to flex the stickier surface on his band of rubber. So let's wait and see whether Timbo can, you know, utilise that to his best. I mean, he was doing well prior to even coming in, because he made it into the top 3, which is pretty good going, seeing as he started 6th place. So he gained 3 places right from the very start. Unfortunately, though, coming to blows with another car pretty much put a dent in his prospects in this opening stint. But after lap 5 of 56, I'm sure he'll have no fussing coming back into the fray when the safety car comes back into the pits. Gab now the sole driver on softs here, though, in the top 10, and he's in 2nd.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Ben Silas to try and defend from the McLaren driver, who might well take over the race lead going into the first corner. Maybe not into T1, but there's certainly going to be a lot of fighting coming from Gab as they work their way down the end of the backstretch. Safety car will be in this lap, though, so we're getting ready to go back racing here at the Circuit of the Americas. And what do you kind of think about the likes of, you know, Ronha in 8th position? Of course, you know, the chance of them to move their way through the order. Obviously, Bench Zabo Konya's a few positions ahead of him. We know what he's been like. Obviously, a couple of podiums in the main series thus far.
Well, it's phenomenal. You look at the numbers already. I mean, Ben Zabo Konya in his own right, and forfeiting, well, battling to and fro already with Jaba Hidegas for that 6th place. But obviously, no positions can be gained under the full course yellow conditions, safety car procedure. Ben Zabo Konya, remember, starting 15th and is now 6th in this lineup. His teammate Ulas Ozyildirim in 5th, starting 13th as well. You've got to look at Thomas Ronha, and what an illustrious start. Started 18th place and now currently 8th in the top 10, and looking mightily strong. Ben Shilez, though, will get us underway, and it'll be down to him as he makes his way around the final corner, crossing the DRS line. He'll then make his way towards turn 1. No DRS now for a while as they put pedal to the metal for the second time in this race now. And it's Ben Gilles who takes them through towards turn 1. Thomas Ronhaar not wasting any time at all. Goes past Jabo Degas, holds on to 7th place. He looks to try and gun down upon Ben Jabo Conye here at the restart as well. Through the slalom, they will go. Turns 2, 3, 4 and 5 as they now look to pirouette their way in towards sector 2. But Illes on top. Gab, though, is going to throw down the gauntlet. Ulasas Yildirim also giving chase to Marchi in 4th.
Yeah, arguably the favourite for the day, working up yet another position. Thomas Ronhaar into 7th place. The up and under, though, working for Ulasas Yildirim as he's going to try and work his way past the Red Bull driver. Absolutely fantastic. But look at the dive to the inside from Ronhaar.
Yeah, he went in late, tried to delay the apex around the inside and has managed to utilise that into some straight line speed, and he's now managed to marshal his way past Marchi for that 6th spot and is now looking to try and pose a threat here to Ben Jabo Conye. Looks to the inside, doesn't perhaps choose to make the move. We also saw a little bit of movement between Benson, Ulasas Yildirim as well, but you can imagine that those two are going to no doubt work together to try and advance their cause further up this timing tower, because currently they're in a very good spot.
Yeah, I said about the big dive from Ronhaar. It was actually Ben Jabo Conye making that big send to the inside in his Haas. That was the one that really caught me out. But yeah, again, fantastic stuff between this grouping. Half a second between the top two. We ride on board with Ronhaar now, keeping right up to the rear wing of Ben Jabo Conye. Ulasas Yildirim directly ahead of him. Tarkani as well. And then we've got Gab, then Bent Alice as they continue and they complete their first lap back under Green Flag Racing. Look at the Red Bull as well, clearing away at the front of the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Gab as well, trying to avoid or break the air that Istvan Tarkani's grabbing. Heading through towards turn 1 again. Outside here, long way round for the Alfa Romeo. Could not quite find a way. Gab doing enough on those soft tyres, and this is allowing Ben Gilles to build a little bit of a gap in between he and P's 2. Further back, Ulasas Yildirim, who is right on his tail as well. Just look at this as we take a sky view here of the cars from above. They peel their way through sector 1. Very soon they'll beckon their way out of turn 9 through turn 10. Ben Gilles, as I said before, holding on to a really nice position as now we see Ulasas Yildirim, who's looking to gain a place himself. He opens up the door down the inside. Heavy braking zone coming up. Great opportunity for the Turk to amass a cause. Into P3 goes. Wheel to wheel now with the Alfa Romeo. Istvan Tarkani now at, shall we say, the pressure being built upon him by Ulasas Yildirim as they make their way down through towards this next left. And it will be the Turkish sensation, Ulasas Yildirim, who holds onto that podium spot. Can he hold on to it? I think he can.
Yeah, straight around the outside though goes Ben Jabo Conye, so he gets his Haas through as well. Alfa Romeo dropping backwards in the hands of Istvan Tarkani. Ronhaar was pulling out of the slipstream to make sure the car's not overheating, but also just to make sure that he wasn't really going for a move going down to that section. Didn't really fancy making it potentially 3 wide down into that corner. So as they head their way through this quadruple right-hander, you can see it's going to be a battle between the two Alvas, and surely Istvan Tarkani's not going to be able to hold off Thomas Ronhaar for too long. Another penalty's been dished out, of course, to Danny Benzer of the Alpine variety, as well as David Finzer, who was the first pit stopper of the day.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Thomas Ronhaar now looking to brush past his teammates here as well. So Alfa Romeo are going to make the swap, which seems to make sense because obviously Ronhaar's pace at the moment is looking pretty sharp. His last lap was registered at a 1:37.574. And remember, moving up from 18th place, he's now in 5th. He's making some serious moves, as is Ben Jabo Conye, who started 15th. He is now up, near enough. Well, he is 11 places and 4th, just in behind teammate Ulasas Yildirim, who's moved up from 13th. The top two haven't changed, though, since the start of the race. Ben Gilles starting pole, and he's very nearly broken the DRS on Gab, and that's a very dangerous place for Gab to be, and lo and behold, he's lost the DRS.
Yeah, exactly, which is going to be a little bit concerning for the grouping behind. Obviously, the next driver that's on fresh tyres is Danny Berejna. He's down in 10th position, still got a lot of work to do. Ulasas Yildirim's going to work his way past the McLaren driver. Yeah. And as they work their way down into the hairpin, it should be a fairly easy move, and the Haas driver is through, and I think Ben Jabo Conye will follow. Yeah,
I think he will. Wheel to wheel they go, and Ben Jabo Conye managing to take him while he was down, and Thomas Ronhaar also looking to do the same. Outside, heading through the very technical third sector. They come together, but very slowly and surely, Gab managing to shut the door here. Coming out now, turn 15. They'll very soon venture around turn 17. Another opportunity will come for Ronhaar. I remember seeing, of course, moves being made here. Remember Max Verstappen pulling off a sensational overtake that was later penalised post-race, and unfortunately losing a podium as a result as well. Ronhaar, though, not choosing to make that same manoeuvre. And this time, the Dutchman will make his way out, and we have got a penalty for Gab, unfortunately, and also for Max Sala.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chicken Tikka's cousins picked one up, and so he'll be down in 15th spot. We'll have a penalty to deal with once they get to the pit stops. Big shame there for Gab to have picked that one up. Out wide goes, I think that's Marcy, who's gone out wide behind Danny Berejne, who's up to 7th position again on fresher tyres with an entire contingent ahead, courtesy of pitting under the safety car.
Yeah, and also, Ulas Ozildrim has managed to break back into the DRS. We've got yellow flags in Sector 1, a retirement as Talabos is out, and another safety car, I think, might have been cornered. Sit tight, everybody. No word yet. The telemetry is still showing that it's green for now, apart from the yellow flags, the cautions in the first sector. Sit tight, everybody. Could well be a safety car, should it continue like this, but obviously we know that the car is DNF'd. Ulas Ozildrim still within 3/10, and now looking to try and brush up this time alongside Ben Chiles. Will have the DRS to help him out as well. Knows that his pace is far more advanced than that of the Red Bull in front of him here. So Ulas Ozildrim will take the lead of the race here at Kota, and following on in behind him as well, Ben Jabo-Konyi, who's looking to make the move heading through the tricky third sector.
This could be a potential victory for Jabo-Konyi as he gets all the way around the outside, got the inside for the next bit. That's an incredible move from Ben Jabo-Konyi, getting his way past Benson Eilis. That was absolutely incredible. And here comes Ron Haar as well, straight through on the Red Bull as they work their way through this quadruple right-hander. That was very impressive.
Yeah, very smart move indeed from Thomas Ron Haar, heading through that double right-hander heading out of turn 17 and 18. Teed it up perfectly for turn 19 and consolidated the place. He's in possibly the best place going. Credit as well to Danny Berejne. Remember, he was towards the rear earlier on after getting spun. He has since managed to marshal out on his second stint of soft tyres, moving his way up to 5th. And now he's in touching distance of Ben Chiles in his own right as well.
Yeah, exactly. God, could you imagine F1 being like this? Like, genuinely, this would be crazy.
Box office,
be able to turn it
box
off.
office.
I would not be able to turn it off. And I would. It's kind of. It would be that era where it's like I would re-watch the race immediately after it's finished because it's so good. Honestly, incredible stuff from Danny Berejne to work his way up here. The only issue for him is that these soft tyres are going to start to fall off a little bit. Yes, it says 6 laps on them, but do remember 3 of those would have been under safety car where they're not putting any major load onto them. So I would expect that Berejne, despite the podium last round in Lagos, I think he might drop back a little bit. Yeah,
well, Gab has gone off as well, and he's recovered back out onto the track, so it's really gone from bad to worse for McLaren here. Of course, we saw Timbo's boxed twice already after suffering in the opening stint. Gab also spinning, heading out to that next bend. We've got a battle here between Zoltan Boda and Will Gibson, who makes his way around the outside. It's a very tricky verge to take, as well as B. Danny, who is right in the mix as well with Milan Meyer as they go wheel to wheel heading through Sector 3. There you can see Jabba Hidegas now trying to hold back the tirade here. A very, very vicious in-swinger here from Marchi, who makes his way round the inside heading through towards turn 17. Pulls it off in the Red Bull as well, and Milan Meyer queuing up for a go as well at the Mercedes.
Yeah, May had a great one on Danny Benzer as well, coming through the exit of that double hairpin sequence. Now he's going to try and find his way past the Mercedes directly ahead of him. Shaba Hidegas, who's obviously has got a penalty on his shoulders. You can see the DRS being open and the flaps open as they head their way down towards T1. It will be Milan Meyer getting past not one, but both of them. Goodness, that shocked me so much, I couldn't even talk.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. I mean, absolutely unbelievable. I mean, Milan Meyer managing to pull off a sensational move in his own right. Marchi down in 8th. Hidegas doing certainly everything he can to hold it all back, but he just simply can't. And he's got B. Danny now on his rear. Plenty more cars now flittering around in the top 10 and trying their best to try and work their way through. Milan Meyer, in all that scrapping, 3.1 seconds now away from Istvan Tarkani in 6th. The gap's now starting to formulate. The question is, though, how will that work out in the strategy phase later on? Remember, though, the leaders did break away. It was the top 4 back at Brazil last time out. Milan Meyer was in that fight, in that second group, trying to, shall we say, advance his own cause and push his way forward. But a safety car back out again. So here we go. Now, this could open the door on strategy.
This certainly will. This will be very interesting indeed to see where this instantly unfolds. Now, surely if you're in maybe the top group, maybe now's the time to pit, get off these tyres. Yes, sure, the mediums have done, 10 laps minus 2 or 3, based on the facts. It's not even that worn, really. But interesting to see if they jump straight in pit lane at the front of the field. We can see Ulas Ozildrim and Ben Jabo-Konyi, the 2 Haas drivers running 1 and 2 at the moment, running their way through this section now. So we've got plenty of time before they get into the pit entry to make a decision. But fascinating. Both Haas drivers definitely cannot pit, though. That's the important thing, is that if they do want to pit, they both cannot. One of them will and one of them won't.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Let's keep an eye on this now. And indeed, Ulas Ozildrim the first to come in. So Ben Jabo-Konyi, no doubt, will stay out and try and hold position. No, he's coming in as well. So there we are, double stack under the safety car. To be fair, they won't lose too much time at this point. Obviously, it doesn't help that what he's going to have to hope for is that it's going to be a quiet pit lane, so the car will jump out relatively straight away. Let's wait and see what happens here. There you can see already, Ulas getting worked on. In comes now Ben Jabo-Connie. Where will he come out in all of this? 10th place as we see it, 9th now, as he makes his way through pit lane. And his teammate Ulas, they're separated by a mere 3 cars. So it's not the worst scenario.
No, it's not. And of course, the top 4 in this one now did not come into pit lanes. David Vincer, of course, Timbo, Norbert Eisner, and Zoltan Boda all not coming down to pit lane. To be fair, neither did Vegas, Christoph. Although to be fair, I think we'll see one of the Williams is now on pit lane. I don't know why I was saying that. It says pit next to his name. I can't speak. It's fine. But yes, it's interesting to see the top 4 not coming in there. Of course, on all 3 different compounds, soft, mediums, and hards. Of course, 2 on the mediums. Interesting to see if they might come in this time. I just don't understand why you wouldn't have pitted on the first go round. I kind of get it a bit more for Zoltan Boda, but even then I'm still a bit like, oh, I'm not sure about that. Maybe they're waiting for the rain. Yeah,
no, maybe. I mean, it is a possibility. In fact, I'm getting on my radar here, Lewis, storm in 18 minutes. Perfect. Storm. We're going to get a storm, everybody. So sit tight. We're on lap 12 of 56. Now, if I'm registering that correctly and looking at it on paper, then I'm working out that, you know, I mean, we can't call it necessarily 2 minutes a lap, but, you know, we should be seeing, you know, storm conditions in the next maybe 5 or 6 minutes. Or should we say, no, sorry, 5 or 6 laps. So it'll probably be around lap 16, 17 that we'll see the wet weather come round.
And you've got to remember there'll be 2 more laps under the safety car. So I would absolutely want to be on soft at the moment.
Yeah.
Although you might think, though, that might be a waste of soft tyres. I don't know how many they get. But that might be a waste of the soft compound tyre.
Yeah. Well, I got some good news, Lewis. In the meantime, I've got a new headset that has just rocked up.
Oh, it's arrived, is it?
It's arrived. So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you talk for a minute, and I'm going to plug this in.
I'm just going to chat, and we'll see how much louder George Morgan is. He doesn't need to be any louder, that's for sure. And that's why he's not going to win the VCO Symbi Award for best commentator in the year.
No, steady on.
Oh, dear. Take your headset off. I want to talk behind your back, not in front of it. Goodness me.
Oh,
dear.
I'll speak to you in a sec.
Yeah, no worries. Best of luck. I was going to say into the pit in the back. I thought one of the Williams would come in. That would be Will Gibson, but it didn't come in. I think it's just taking a different line coming down into the final corner. You're absolutely right. It is, though, impossible for George Morgan to be any louder than he presently is. Safety car will be out for another lap, I believe, after this one, so we've got plenty of time to kind of understand. But the top 4 did not pit. David Vincer, Timbo, Eisner, and Zoltan Boda will all remain out on the circuit, which means I think they are just trying to stay out on the circuit until until we get into the wet weather, the storm conditions that's coming. That's going to be fascinatingly heavy. Of course, do remember that qualifying was rather wet. Although, to be fair, I think the order in qualifying almost didn't really make that much of a difference, considering 8 of the drivers that we had, might have been 9, the drivers that we had did not actually set a lap time in that session. So who knows? Unfortunately, just the single retirement from the race. That's Talabos. That didn't cause the safety car. We believe it might have been a problem for Christopher Vegas, who might have triggered the safety car for the 2nd time to date, and you've kind of got to wonder if maybe Ben Jabo-Connie, who we're looking at here, might work his way quickly back up. Safety car will be in this lap. Thanks, man. It's appreciated. I can't count. So,
we're back.
Anyone to jump in? He's back. You sound worse. No, I'm joking.
I'll be honest.
Hopefully you're actually coming out on broadcast. Let's double check.
This actually sounds better. I don't know what's happened, but yeah, this is taking an advantage. Or maybe that headset was really on the brink. Incredible. But yes, no, we are back, folks, and you are absolutely right. I believe the safety car is going to be coming in this lap. We're hoping so anyway. Yes, it is. So there we go. David Vincer will be leading here, Lewis. No major breaking news while I've been gone?
No. You did a great job in your pit stop, courtesy of your wife doing an excellent job. Again, earning the name.
Absolutely. You know, she's done a stellar job. She's a great she's a great engineer for this team. But no, it's brilliant. Yeah, it was a very quick change. She was on point. But yeah, we're about to go racing again here, heading through the next double rights, turn 17 and 18 to come, and it's all on Vincer. Now, obviously, he's got the world's against him here. You know, especially the top 4. Zoltan Boda is going to be massively exposed on those hard tyres. He's also got a penalty to his name. Timbo and Eisner, of course, Timbo already boxing twice already and is now going to be making his way back out with a flood of cars on the soft compounds of tyre. that are basically on the same strategy. Ulas Azildarim, who is an absolute charger as they now hit pedal to the metal for the third time in this race. Now David Vincher heading up through towards turn 1 has got a gap further back. Ulas Azildarim looking to exploit a gap, goes down the inside, heading in towards turn 1 and breezes past Sultan Boda for that fourth place. And now we've got a wheel-to-wheel battle between Thomas Ronha as well as Boda again, as now we see Ronha looking to go side by side. They flex again heading through the slalom, and it is going to be Thomas Ronha who scoops up 5th place. Berejnay follows suit as well with a stunning overtake, and Zoltan Boda on those hard tyres getting eaten up in the process.
Yeah, 3 of the best drivers in sim racing, showing why they're the best drivers. That was incredible from all 3 of them. And now Norbert Eisner under the pressure. Here comes a look down the inside. Ulas Azildarim will work his way through, almost 3 wide as there's a further send from Ronha working his way past. Danny Berejnay will try and pick up the pieces, have to drop back into the slipstream of the Ferrari as we continue onto the backstretch. It is Vincer and Timbo ahead of these lot as we ride on board with Ronha. Not trying to get past Ulas Azildarim right now.
No, he's not, but there is a battle for second place. A very late move from Ulas Azildarim. Might have been caught unawares here, but now rejoining the track. It's an opportunity here for Ronha, who's going to look to try and take second away from Ulas Azildarim as we run on board. Ronha takes second, a double overtake, and Timbo has managed to take P3 away, and now he's lost 2 additional places to Ulas Azildarim because he's lost second, he's lost third, he's lost 4th, he's down in 5th.
Yeah, and look at this one for Berejnay trying to stick all the way around the outside of Timbo. Does not manage to clear him as they head their way down into 19. And so we'll have to sit behind the McLaren at the moment. Ulas Azildarim trying to get his way straight back through the Mercedes, punching his way out of the final corner. Fastest lap coming in from Ronha as we get this race completely back under Ray. And again, rain is looming on the horizon. We are expecting a storm in the very near future, but at the moment, the storm's happening on the track.
It certainly is, and also a battle for the lead is brewing because in comes Thomas Ronha through the slalom. He goes. He's surely not going to dare it here at this point. Goes late on the brakes into turn 2. Brilliant stuff heading out of turn 2 into turn 3. And Ronha, the Dutchman, victor in the opening round of F1 Esports, has now taken P1 away from David Vincher, who's now relegated to second place, and Berejnay is also on the charge.
Yeah, pound for pound, arguably the fastest driver on the platform at the moment. Thomas Ronha up into the lead of the race, and now watch him disappear down the road as Danny Berejnay and Ulas Azildarim trying to work their way through as well. Obviously, you can see Berejnay on the back end of David Vincer. This is on board with Timbo, who's obviously lost out to Ulas Azildarim and Benchabo Konyi, and might well lose out to Milan Meyer as well. Danny Berejnay up into second position over the Mercedes.
Yeah, he is as well. David Vincher now down into third. We got more side-by-sides here as Timbo looks to defend against Benchabo Konyi, trying to fight back. Of course, he's pretty lame on those 11-lap-old softs. They're starting to fall away from him. And now Milan Meyer, who's been pressurising and puncturing his way through as he makes an outside manoeuvre heading through this next left-hander. And with the additional grip that those newer softs will provide, it allows him to make the overtake. 6th place for Milan Meyer. And Istvan Tarkani has got the same thing on his mind.
Yeah, again, like I say, doors are opening here for a few of these drivers, and like I say, the opportunities are arising, and they'll want to take care of that ASAP. They don't want to wait too long. Caution comes out. It'll be Norbert Eisner, I think, his round, although he's only dropped a single position to Will Gibson.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Benchabo Konyi now also making more moves. David Vincher losing an additional place. He's down to 5th now, and definitely goes to show the difference between fresher and older tyres, especially on mediums as well. There is literally no other driver on medium tyres now in the top 10. In fact, the next medium compounded tyre that we're seeing in our timing tower is being done by Will Gibson in 12th. So David Vincher's done well, even just to stay where he is on this strategy now, but just look at what's happening in the top 4. Thomas Ronha now holding on to a healthy advantage here. Danny Berejnay, the 2 F1 Esports talents, still 1 and 2. Ulas Azildarim, of course, making it 3 F1 Esports talents in 1, 2 and 3. Haas are having a fantastic race right now as Timbo heads out of the next left, heading through down the next straight of DRS, and now under pressure from Istvan Tarkani. Back goes now Timbo, loses out to Ben Chiles and Tarkani as well, and B. Danny also making moves.
Yeah, Danny Bencher, B. Danny, is the driver who had the first pole position in the season as well back in Monza, so he's clearly got some speed in this, as this grouping are all very elbows out in their fights, almost touring car-esque, as Istvan Tarkani gets ahead, Ben Chiles. You can see Danny Masala also involved. I feel really bad for him and most of the Hungarians in this, because we've just completely changed all their names when it comes to their championship, and everyone now referring to him as the cousin or brother of Chicken Tikka. But Danny Masala up into the top 10. Will Gibson, Flexus Marcy as well. Directly behind that is Timbo. Dropping back. Those soft tyres are not having a good time, are they?
No, not at all. Absolutely not. Danny McSala now flirting now with Timbo, ventures it into the pits, but now McSala's holding on to 10th. Will Gibson not far behind either, and he's on fresher medium tyres, so on a vastly different strategy to what McSala is. Just ahead, a little bit of contact over between McSala and Danny over that 9th place. Now, has that done any damage to the Ferrari? Because obviously it is easy and susceptible, and they're very fragile, those front wings. Very easy to cause damage to, and therefore lose aero, which will hamper his performance. But I think at this stage he's doing okay, just staying in the midst. Obviously it was a very, very close and personal situation only through turn 1, but McSala is still on track.
Just going to touch very quickly on the top 3, because of course Ulas Azildirim does have a penalty for breaches of track limits. He has recently though just set the fastest lap of the race, so that's pretty impressive from him as he tries to climb back down on Danny Berejne. Got to say, for the pair of those two, Danny Berejne and Ulas Azildirim, to have closed down on Ron Hara in the way that they've done, very impressive indeed. Of course, now they've got the comfort of the slipstream, the blanket that is, as they'll try and keep up with the Alfa Romeo. Fantastic to see. We've definitely got a 3-horse fight in this race before that storm comes in. Well, to be fair, I don't know about you, but looking at the sky, it's just like, it looks beautiful here. It looks like a lovely day for a good round of golf. Well,
I can tell you this, that the weather has changed somewhat on the telemetry. We are predicting light rain now in 8 minutes. So there we go. So that'll be a matter of a few laps' time when we start seeing that. So sit tight, folks. 4 laps, and I think we could be in for a change of pace here. We were expecting a storm, but apparently we're not going to be getting, not a storm as such, maybe just a little light dusting of rain. Now, whether that does mean that we'll see a switch onto the intermediate tyres, I'm not quite sure. But I can tell you this, the air temperature now is dropped down to a state of 19 degrees, whereas it's usually optimal around 23. We're now in the 19-degree mark. So it's obviously just dropping ever so slightly. Now, whether we see that light rain or whether it dissipates altogether, we'll have to wait and see. But it's certainly not the storm conditions that we were expecting earlier on.
No, I think the action on circuit has robbed us of that, because it's taken the storm prediction and just put it down to the racing that we've had. So to be fair, do you know what? I'll take that. Again, incredible scenes between the top grouping. You can tell on the tower that we've got the closest fight on track behind the 6th spot. Of course, you've got Istvan Tarkani, David Vincer, who's obviously led a few laps today, courtesy of the safety car. Ben Silas, who's also led a few laps today. Danny Benson, you've got Danny McSala as well. You've got Will Gibson and Flexus Marcy, who are all involved in this train. Back to 12th spot as here comes a move from the Red Bull.
Yeah, Ben Chile is now looking for 7th. He's going to breeze past David Vincer. Very smoothly done as well. So the Aston Martin now relegated to 8th, with the Red Bull now up to 7th place, and he's going to try and close up on Istvan Tarkani. Will Gibson right on the tail of Danny McSala as well for 10th, so trying to break into the top 10 point segments. And then Flexus Marchi down in 12th. Also within a second, and will have DRS, but is right on the brisk of losing it. In fact, he is starting to drop outside that second gap, so that is going to cause a problem for him. But the only respite he does have is that Zoltan Boda is on those long used hard tyres. He's actually one of the few drivers, in fact the only driver, still yet to stop at this stage, really. Well, saying that, I believe he hasn't stopped just yet. No, so he's the sole driver that has yet to stop.
Yeah, it will tick over to 18 as soon as he crosses the lap, which means obviously that's how many laps he's been on. We are on lap 90, which is where the leader is right now. Other drivers that didn't stop at the last safety car, the one we're looking at here, David Vincer, never mind, he's going to lose out a single position there to the Ferrari of Danny Masala. So Masala working his way through into that 9th position. Obviously, track limit violations fall a lot, fair enough, whatever it is, but it isn't. Danny Pencer also adds his name to that list. Drivers staying out on tyres right now, they're in a very unfavourable scenario. They want this to rain ASAP. And you can see the cloud coverage is coming over a little bit more, so I do suspect that rain is only a few laps away as we look down the inside with Will Gibson. Yeah, Will Gibson now making a move down the inside for 10th place. Takes it away as well, so that's a top 10 for him. David Vincer now moving down to 11th. Flexus Marchi down in 12th place. And watching all this unfold in the process, but Will Gibson doing enough down this long straight with the DRS as well to control the pace. Flexus Marchi now also trying to move up 11th place, manages to squeeze through the tightest of gaps. And as a result now, looked like that David Vincer was going to try and take the place back, but wasn't quite able to. Up at the front end, Ulas Azildirim now starting to pepper the back of Danny Berejne, so it might not be all singing and dancing here for the Hungarian, as now the Turk, who was a sensation in F1 Esports Challenges earlier on in the year. Remember his campaign, he was one of the most, he pulled off some of the most extraordinary strategy calls out of nowhere, seemed to favour
the overcut a lot and managed to pull it off brilliantly. He also did throw in a couple of undercuts as well, but he certainly was a strategic mastermind when it came to, you know, manufacturing overtakes and positions during the pit stop phase whilst we were carrying out F1 Esports challenges. And once again, we're seeing a grand display of his pace. And this is kind of pace, flitters, that we saw during ESL R1.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, his ESL R1 campaign wasn't exactly great, and to be fair, for the entirety of the FaZe Clan squad, with the exception of some impressive performances from likes of Tim Yarshall, it wasn't that great. He made the best of a bad situation. I think that's the important thing. That's the mark of a good driver. When things are against you, you move forward. Nulas Yildirim is a good driver. He's proved himself so many times in 2023, and he might well need to use some of those fantastic strategy calls today, because I said about that cloud coverage coming over. I mean, I don't know if you can tell already, we're already quite overcast.
It's getting dimmer, isn't it?
As well. It's instantly coming. Look at the cloud coverage now. It's completely covered the circuit right now, which means that rain literally cannot be far away. We're talking the next couple of laps. What your weather radar is telling you. I'm trying to make it sound more fancy than it is.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't call it a radar. It's more like a piece of blue text that keeps flashing at me every 2 seconds. But yeah, I'm getting light rain in 3 minutes, Lewis, as we're now seeing a very late move here from Will Gibson down the inside. Contact between he and Danny McSala. Oh, no! And he's not alone either. A Red Bull went off as well, I think. It flashed before our eyes, and I'm not sure who it was, but it can't have been Flex's, surely. But a safety car has been called. So definitely some significant damage, as you can see on Danny McSala's car. The front wing missing in its entirety with a very bare nose cone and a drive-through penalty for Istvan Tarkani.
And also, look at the amount of drivers in pit lane. I was going to say, if I'm Danny Masala, because I'm coming in, I'm going on to the Inters. That's exactly what's happened with Milan Meyer, with Ben Jabo Konyi, with Ben Solis as well. This has come out at an opportune moment. Yes, the circuit is perfectly dry at the moment. We know it's going to rain fairly soon. Do you know what? Take the pain now. Well, I've just seen a couple of raindrops dropping down here, George. The rain has started. This is perfect timing for the likes of Ben Jabo Konyi, Milan Meyer, Ben Solis, Danny Benzer, David Vincer, and just so many other drivers.
Yeah, incredible. It is a bold maneuver, because the big question is, will this rain stand the test of time? Will it be here long enough to mean that Inters are viable? That is the big question. Now, my big concerns are the fact that we're not seeing the stormy weather. So those that are on the intermediates are making a huge decision here to box onto the the intermediate compounded tyre. Now, the top four are all still on softs. Thomas Ronha, who is also still leading, Ulas Yildirim, Danny Berejne, basically the esports contingent currently sat in the top three. Istvan Tarkani also on softs as well. Now, they are currently behind the safety car. Ben Jabo Konyi now starting to worm his way back through. He's only 4.2 seconds now. He's breaking into the threes, catching up as you'd expect. Now, it's decision time. We're right on the hot spot where we are expecting the rain to fall. Now, DRS has not been disabled, so that leads me to think that currently we're still in slick conditions right now.
We are currently, but by the time we go racing, it'll definitely be intermediates. So I think these four have to stop now and to the back of the field with them. If you thought we were going to get robbed of some excellent moves from Ronha, well, they'll be back on the dinner table fairly soon. David Vincer, though, being 13 seconds back. I don't know when this group is going to come out comparatively to the rest of the field, but obviously they've all got to run to a certain time at the moment to make sure they don't catch the safety car. I still think these are basically going to the back of the field. They might not go all the way to the back, but they are going to the back.
Yeah.
They are pitting.
They are pitting. Yeah, they nearly sold us. I think that's a dummy, at that time. Istvan Tarkani coming in as well. Looked like he was going to try and stay out. Not this time, though. So it does mean that Ben Jabo Konyi will take the lead of the race here at this stage, and will filter in behind the safety car, as will Milan Meyer, who is actually one of the he's actually taken full advantage of this himself, Milan Meyer, because remember, he was in the bottom 10 as such, in the top half of the bottom 10, but he was still in the bottom 10. He's now P2 out on track. The top two, incidentally, started P15 and 14th respectively, and also Bench Ilez as well down in third. And remember, he started on pole, but he's managed to bring himself back into the top three as well. So credit to those drivers. B. Danny as well starting 10th. He's now up to 4th. David Vincher also on the fresher intermediate tyres. He's in 5th too. Plexus Marchi as well up there. Incidentally though, Will Gibson started 20th, now P7.
Just look at Danny Masala though, right? After being involved in that crash, losing his front wing, coming straight into the pit lane because of the safety car, out in 9th.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's sometimes it works for you. Obviously, Ron Hart, Ulas Azildrim, Danny Berejne, and Istvan Tarkani is a little bit further down, but they've all come out, sort of 11th, 12th, 13th, and obviously Tarkani down in 16th. So it's not too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad. Did get the note in chat that that Danny Berejne's wheel disconnected, it failed, but obviously it is back now. But that'll be not particularly comfortable for the next 35 laps.
It could be Danny McSala's wheel. Oh no, was it Berejne?
I believe they were
Berejne. I thought that perhaps they were on about Danny McSala after his incident earlier on, that perhaps his wheel sort of snapped or something, or his wheel just kind of shut down.
That would have been great, but Philip King said Berejne's controller disconnected, so you
dear.
should read up. you should pay attention to the entirety of the chat here. Goodness me, he's nominated for an award, you know. I mean, I'm nominated for the same one. I've won it twice, it's fine, don't worry. But he's nominated for an award, you know. Yeah. Go over to the VCO Simi Awards and vote for Zach Sweeney. Do not vote for George Morgan, vote for Zach Sweeney.
Yeah, right? And remember, this is Oppositeville here in W.
Do not! If anyone here votes for George Morgan, I'll never come back.
Which is a great...
I'll never come back.
Which is a fantastic reason to vote for me. So there you go, everybody. As we now see here on lap 22 of 56, Benjamo Conye leads the way here at Kota, with Milan Mayer just behind as well. Fastest lap so far still being held by Ulas Yildirim. Oh, dear.
Oh, George.
Well, it wasn't me. I can assure you, it wasn't me. We go. We seem to have lost connection with the server. Interesting. Well, there we go. We'll try and get it back. Anything from you, Liz?
Bit disappointed. Do you know why? Do you know what's happened here?
Good.
I know what's happened here. I can feel it. Someone has gone into the VCO Simi Awards. And they voted for George Morgan, haven't they?
Are you blaming?
That's what's happened.
Are you blaming Badgerman by any chance?
Yeah, I am actually. I'm disgusted. It was nice now. Goodbye.
Yeah, dearie me. I don't mean to alarm you, Lewis, but we are currently seeing. We're currently apparently that all the drivers have disconnected as well. So whether they're
that's something like them.
Well, it could be downtime at this point. So maybe they're doing some work behind the scenes. So, oh dear. Apparently everyone total server down. Apparently, because even PSGL's down as well. So everyone is down. So, goodness me.
That is what you get for voting for George Morgan. Goodness me.
No, if you'd voted for me, that would have never happened. That's what I will say to that. Incredible.
No.
Yeah, apologies, guys, but it looks like. I mean, I'm not sure whether we want to call it now or what we're going to do. I mean, I'm going to leave it up. I'm going to leave it up to the talents of Luke Humphreys to decide as to what we're going to do.
The thing is Luke's in the middle of a race.
Oh, is he?
It's on the Xbox side of things.
Well, maybe he's not, because if that's down too, then maybe we'll be all right. Apparently, Luke,
he's in.
Luke is going to speak to Timbo. There we go.
Okay.
Sit tight, everybody. Will Gibson, George, did you like how I got killed? I did see it. We were talking about it, actually. We commentated on that. We saw Danny McSala and yourself come together. Far from me to have an opinion on that move, because we were actually looking at an onboard at that time. But yeah, I'm sure your footage will speak volumes, Will. But yeah, we're looking. Yeah, it might be Steam down. Yeah, there's a great chance it's going to be Steam. In fact, I'm looking on my.
What about the finals? I wanted to play.
Oh no! Well, I'm looking on my Steam actually, and I am saying it's disconnected. So I think Steam is down. So hang on a minute. Let's sit tight. I'm not sure what the plan is. I'm sure Timbo will let us know. It is back apparently. So right, let's have a look.
Try again.
Yeah, let's give it a shout.
I am not bad luck. It is nothing to do with me.
It's Lewis McGlade.
I've done 2 rounds this, and it has been absolutely fine. I've done 2 rounds. It has been absolutely fine.
Well, listen, I'm looking now, and this looks positive now. I think something's happening. So sit tight, everybody. I'm hoping to get some good news. No, it's still saying disconnected my side. I'll be honest. So. It's not looking good.
Because I have actually taken the... it was on lap 22, by the way. I have taken down the entirety of the Steam because I'm just sick of commentating with George Morgan. I've had enough for 2023.
Yeah.
I've had enough.
You had me for the whole year. to be fair.
I know, it's been bad, hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So, I credit your stamina, Lewis McGlade.
Yeah, no, I realised recently, I did the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Deutschland broadcast, and I realised that I've done every single Rennsport broadcast in 2023, and that was the moment of realisation that I've done a lot of broadcasts with George Morgan, and I can tell you it ain't fun.
No, it's not. Yeah, I make him work for it, man. Make him work. Make him work for it. Right, apparently Steam is back up, apparently, according to sources that are in the live chat. I'm still showing disconnected. Whether I can get... I'm not sure whether I can even get an invite here at this point. I'm still in the game, but unfortunately we're just not in a session. So I'm not sure how we're going to work this. But let's see. It's a bit of a mystery.
Who knows?
I don't know why it's showing disconnected for me.
If not, you just have to play through the Breaking Point 2 career mode, apparently.
We might have to. Yeah, we might have to.
I'll comment on that. He has got his new headset, yes.
Yes.
George has
check it out. Yeah, whether we're going to retire this one. It's basically the exact same headset. There's nothing different. Press reconnecting game should fix it. Cheers, Thomas. Thomas Ronhard coming in clutch with the technical insight. Let's see if this works. Retry connection. Here we go. Communicating with online services. We are in, everybody. We are in. Right, okay. Let's see if the live chat's working. Right.
Dear,
yes, here we go.
Sorry, you're not privy to viewing this, but I am genuinely watching him struggle his way through this. It's good fun.
Great.
It's very entertaining.
Great. Yeah, it's all right for Lewis McGlade. He just sits there and watches me struggle.
Oh no, yeah, exactly. I just sit back and I do nothing.
Okay, session
error code KMR2.
Yeah. Session no longer exists. So we're gonna have a look and choose somebody else to pick on.
It's probably because they're gonna start a new session, mate.
Probably is.
Apparently, we're gonna look. It's fine. It's fine. We'll be back in a second anyway with it.
We will.
Again, we're gonna do it. I think it's a 50% race.
Yes.
From now on.
That's the mission. Timbo has come out and made a decision that we are going to be racing a 50% race, and I'm going to try and join through him, I think, because he's a very reliable source, I would have thought. But he was the one who sent me the invite to begin with, so here we go.
Okay, excellent.
So let's try him. Joining session. This looks positive. No, it's not. KMR2. KMR2. Whoever
KMR2 is.
Yeah, you want to have
a
quiet word with yourself, KMR2, wherever you are.
Have a swift word.
Yeah.
Oh dear, fascinating. It's fine. We're not going to talk about it. It's all right. It's all right. We'll move on. I was going to say, do you know what I'm most disappointed by?
What's that?
That race has actually turned out to be really good.
It was a really good race.
I was very excited to see where it was going to go.
Yeah, mighty shame that we lost that one. I mean, it was pretty good. I think I want to give credit first of all to Ben Jabo-Conye. I think first of all, I mean that was a stellar showing because moving when he did to have the foresight to move onto the intermediates. I think that was expertly done. And this is not the first time we've seen Ben Jabo-Conye perform well in a strategy context. He was exactly the same back in Brazil. So,
and to be fair, he's quite similar back in Monza as well.
He was, yes.
Obviously, you weren't there for that one.
I wasn't there.
Once again, George Morgan bails for every broadcast.
I had a curry that night. I had a Danny McSala. I had a Danny McSala that night.
Honestly, I feel so bad. And now Gabor Cicek has got the McLaren driver moniker as well. So it's just I've come along. I've just ruined a lot of these because I can't pronounce their names. So I'm just like, do you know what? Let's just go with this.
You've ruined F1 League racing, Lewis McGlade. Incredible.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Apparently so. And of course, it's disconnect.
Yeah. Now this is a big problem, guys, because at the moment we're getting error codes and it's not good. It unfortunately means that I will not be able to join a session. I'm KMR2 at the moment, which is basically that I can't join a session.
Yeah.
So let's see. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to keep trying. Eventually, hopefully, it might work.
We're turning it into a podcast, mate. We're turning it into a podcast.
This is
what opinions have you had recently?
WOR podcast.
Disagreed with?
Sorry, say again. What did you say?
What opinions have you had recently that people disagreed with on Twitter?
Well, I've actually. Do you know what, Lewis? I felt terrible that you were the only one that got in trouble. So I made a video.
That's true.
This afternoon, which was received both in a positive sense, but also negatively. But I think my assessment of this, to bring this to WOR, because WOR endorse all these statements that I make.
Exactly.
To basically say that I think there should be a lot more positivity in sim racing because I think despite the struggles that we have had, and listen, they're well documented, right? They're well documented. We've seen enough of it. We've seen loads of it. But on the other hand, it's not going to be solved through anger and malevolence. That's my chief thought. And I think also we need to be careful with what sources we read online. That was the basic premise of the video. Which is true. Be careful of the sources you read, folks.
Exactly, but apparently that's a very PR response of you.
Apparently,
no, you're absolutely right.
Apparently so. I mean, apparently I'm a PR machine. To be honest with you, I wish someone told me to write that, but they didn't. So there we go.
No, it is the whole. To be fair, it is the whole thing with general things within just global thing. Is people will read something and they'll accept it at face value and then repost it without going. Yeah. If I spend a minute here, maybe even 30 seconds, and research by literally just copying this and posting it into something and just checking for a second, then maybe I'll find out that actually it's total rubbish. But who knows? That would be too hard work, wouldn't it?
Listen, if I came out and said something just because I knew people would agree with it, then I would have no moral fiber as a human being. That's my own.
I thought you didn't.
Did you not? No, I didn't really either, to be honest.
No.
My moral fiber left a long time ago. No, honestly.
The whole year of working with you.
No, listen, if I just went around and started preaching just for the power of likes and retweets, then trust me, I would have just swallowed my, just coincide with everyone, always, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things I do agree with many people on that perhaps aren't necessarily popular views, and this is obviously not a very popular view either that I've sort of rose to the table. But at the same time, I think it has value, because I think the problem a lot with the current complexion of league racing is our attitude as a community. I think we ourselves are holding each other back, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's down to us to make a change. That's my view.
Yeah, I've spoken about this quite a few times. There is that occasion. We've really turned this into a podcast.
We have.
Hot damn! I'm so sorry to everyone watching. We're now literally just into full podcast mode. That's fine. Apparently PSGL, by the way, are having the same problem. So that's at least that.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to join sessions now. I'm trying to join Ben Shabakonyu's.
It's taking longer now. This is a positive thing.
Longer is better. Longer is better. Oh. This is looking good. Yes!
It is looking good. We are in an event.
We are in a session.
Longer. There you go. You heard it here, folks. Longer is better.
Longer is better.
Factually.
In more ways than one.
Me, George Morgan.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
There we are.
Please, can we clip that somehow?
Listen.
Holy cow.
I endorse that comment.
Oh, wow. Honestly, full on wow mode.
Yeah, honestly, outrageous. No, phenomenal. Hey, guys, positives. We're positive. See, if you're positive, you connect to sessions. That's exactly why you guys should, you guys should listen to what I say, because what I say is true.
You know Kevin Siggy?
Yes.
I
know him. I know of him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He used to be part of a team called Positive Sim Racing. So. Just saying.
He is a positive person sometimes.
Well, sometimes he also beats a wheel up.
Yeah. He didn't seem very positive after Luke Bennett's overtake at Road Atlanta.
I don't even remember it.
The one that Adrian Fidalgo said, "No, you shall not pass."
Let's be honest, I've removed most of that weekend from my mind. As to be fair, has the F1 sim racing community, but we're not going to talk about that at the time. We at least look. I will say, from that whole weekend, we did at least get one meme from it, which was this one. Yes, we did, and it was actually the man in this race that was behind it. so honestly, it was excellent.
Yeah. So it was brilliant. I think from my perspective, I think that was the best thing Thomas Ronhaar could have done. I think. Yeah. Another unpopular opinion: Ronhaar has really sent a message with his performance.
I don't think that's an unpopular opinion.
Well, no, neither do I. But some people don't think it's popular. So.
Yeah, but then those are the people that were posting about my opinion being slightly wrong in the previous round, which is why I've got a great video. And honestly, that's fine. I gained a load of followers.
The thing is, do you know what we're laughing at right now? We're laughing at social media right now. That's what we're laughing at.
We're being negative.
Yeah, we're laughing at social media. That's the hilarious thing. People let it control them. But this is exactly why you should not let it control you, because it's nonsense. No. It's complete and utter nonsense. Don't fall for it, folks. Goodness me.
And yet here we are constantly making posts on Twitter and Instagram. We're hypocrites.
We're hypocrites, Lewis McGlade. We're hypocrites.
The thing is, by being a hypocrite, you back both sides, which means that whilst you are a hypocrite, you're always right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's value in that.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for people to join, by the way.
Honestly,
waiting for the entire grid to join.
I think we forget the race right now. Let's
again.
just keep talking. This is gold. I think.
Oh dear. Oh, is this where the George and Lulu podcast
I
starts?
think it does. I think we've got a bright future here, Lewis McGlade.
Goodness me, just literally putting the world's right. And the thing is, though, is that if we ever did a podcast, we'd have to make it a mature podcast because I would need to F and Jeff my way through the broadcast.
I mean, I just want to stand out here and just give appreciation to Philip King here for a minute for this brilliant comment. If you've never played darts blindfolded, you don't know what you're missing.
No, that is true. That is true. I got told a trick recently. Now I can't remember what it was. There's some
stand-up joke there, Philip King.
I do love a good dad joke.
You've won. You've won live chat.
I love a good dad.
Well done, Philip.
Yep. No, I love a good dad joke. I've got honestly. So I did the race for mental health back in 2021 with Arjuna, with Dan, and with Cameron Rogers as well. And part of it is, if you don't know what it is, it's made by Jimmy Broadbent. It's a charity race. You donate things. If you get a penalty in the race, you either have to serve the penalty or you have to donate to charity. Or if you also part of it is that if it's a low penalty, you have to tell a dad joke. So we all had genuinely a spreadsheet full of dad jokes. So good. Honestly,
Fantastic.
all of them were terrible. None of them were appropriate.
I'm pretty sure we aired quite a few dad jokes during the ESLR1 show, which
so many.
Yeah, which were pretty good. I think. I don't think Jasmine found them funny, but yeah, I think we did.
What was it that I said to her? Maybe you'll finally do a good job for once.
Sorry.
Did you not see that clip?
I did see it. I was aware of it.
Yeah,
I think I was glad I was off the stage when it happened.
I felt as soon as the words, I sent that to my dad, who then has sent it to my entire
For a
family.
small person, Jasmine hits very hard.
I'm sure. Honestly, I'm terrified of her. But my dad said mouth engaged before brain, and I'm like, yeah, you're absolutely right, mate.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Unreal. There we are. Right, folks, just to bring you back to what's going on. I hope you've all enjoyed the George Morgan TV and Lewis McGlade podcast. It's been fabulous. We're about to head back out into qualifying, I believe, or whether they're going to start with the same grid. I'm not sure what the mission is here, but sit tight. The timer is ticking to 0. We'll soon let you know. It is going to be one-shot quali. So there we go. Back to it again, and we're going to be doing it across a 50% race format. So getting us back underway. And Christoph Uvegas is going to take us through towards turn 1. Vajda Gabor as well, right in the mix here. Danny Berejday disqualified from the session again, as you'd expect. Thomas Ronha, I'm sure, will be out of the session, as well as Ulasol Yildirim. So do not turn away, folks. We're just getting started.
Yeah, like I say, I'm expecting to see a few retirements and stuff from this. Sharma Hagedis, who is the one on our screen at the moment. Ben Silas as well. Was Spencer the one that was on pole position in the initial start? Again, I've completely forgotten. I don't even know what my name is half the time.
I know, McGlade Lewis, yeah. No,
that's exactly what it is. No, I mean, to be fair, in Hungary, you do the names are backwards like that. That is how it is. It's second. It's family name before first name.
Well, it's like Ben Chiles, or is it, Illiz Bench. Obviously, we know Ben Jabo Konyi as well. At the end of the day,
they do it the right way around.
They do it the right way around, exactly. But we
sorry. Let's just clarify. When I said the right way around, I meant the our way. Oh my god!
I was just steering into your skid there, Lewis McGlade. There we go. As we now watch the cars make their way through the double right-hander, of course, meeting turn 17 and 18. It's Ben Chiles, who started on pole incidentally last time out. He looks like he's going to do exactly the same again this time, despite not even getting purple in the first 2 sectors. But consistency prevails, and once again he's on top, this time in dry conditions. A 1:32.080 and nearly 3/10 faster than Isfan Tarkani in second. Eisner in third place.
And hilariously, we had 11 people complete the lap in the wet session, and this time we had 9.
Wow.
In the dry. So clearly not everyone wants to just get on with the race. Like you say, Ben Solis on pole position as he was earlier on in the day. This time, though, it was 17.5 seconds faster. It's not bad.
No,
this is dry.
Well, of course, yeah. Dry conditions. 2 plus tenths difference between P1 and 2. Tarkani in second, Eisner third, Hidegas in fourth, Timbo in fifth, Vincher in sixth, Danny seventh, Marchi eighth, Ronha in ninth place this time, of course, thanks to the rest of the grid actually DNFing. He's actually, technically, the mission was to start from the back, but he's obviously not. Milan Meyer 10th. We got Gabor Vajta in 11th. We got McSala in 12th. Ozildarim 13th. Berejne 14th. Will Gibson 15th. Gab 16th. Christoph Uvegas in 17th. Boda 18th. And Jabo Konyi in 19th place. So there we have it, folks. That is. Oh, we just got word actually from Thomas Ronha. He's going to drop off last. Well, he's going to go last basically at the beginning of the race. So there we go. So there we have it. Good sportsmanship being shown from Thomas Ronha, who obviously knows that he wants to start from the back.
I was going to say, you say good sportsmanship. It's more he just wants an absolute meme. If he doesn't move on the line, though, he ghosts, doesn't he? So it's fine.
Yes, he should do. I mean, I'd imagine he'll pull to the left.
He should
just in case.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would accelerate, pull forward, pull over to the left-hand side,
as much
then come to a stop, and then get back going.
As exciting as lobby restarts are, Lewis McGlade, I don't think we really want another one, to be quite honest. But yeah, no. We'll sit tight. Yeah, it would be. It would be. I can't imagine everyone who lines up behind him will find it funny. But we'll see.
Just imagine failing to qualify, but accidentally qualifying inside the top 10.
Yeah, incredible. I tell you what, that's what F1 Esports drivers, that's what dreams are made of, as far as they're concerned. Takes the pressure off. But we're going to go racing yet again, folks. This time you can hear the lights now glowing red as well, as we put pedal to the metal, and it is go, 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 and Thomas Ronha is indeed away. Ben Chiles, though, immediately taking the lead of the race, being challenged by Tarkani into turn 1. Eisner as well, looking for places. Hidegas fighting with him as well, as they look to try and stretch out, leading through towards turn 2. Illes in first, Tarkani second. Eisner holds on to third with Hidegas down in fourth. Timbo in 5th place as well. Battles further back as Ben Konyi moves up to 16th place after starting on the back row. He's a man on a mission. Ulas Ozildarim as well, 11th place already, as he looks to knife his way through the field.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, they've been given positions as the caution comes straight out. Maybe we'll get a safety car. Who knows straight away? We've got a virtual safety car. It's Christoph Vegas who's got back to the rear.
Yeah, severe collision there. Christoph Vegas now to the rear. And only 19 cars line up on this occasion. So there we go. We have lost one. Nevertheless, though, it is Ben Chiles back to normal. Front row, P1. Isfan Tarkani in second. Eisner in third. Hidegas fourth. Timbo still in fifth as well. Remember, he was top 6. In our last qualifying event as well in the previous session. Flexus Marshy in 6th, as well as David Vincher, and B. Danny as well in 8th place. Now, I can tell you this, Lewis McGlade, we're now under full safety car conditions. So there we go, that's an update. And also, light rain in 14 minutes. So the drama never stops.
No, it just keeps going and going, doesn't it? Goodness me. Who is the one that is missing, by the way? That's the big question.
That is a big question.
I think it's the second Alpine.
Yes.
Which was going to be, hold on, who have we got? So we've got Danny Benson, so it's Gurgly Talabos, who obviously retired very early, so probably had left and has quit. Didn't know he could get back in and actually have another race.
Yeah, so
you would never have known.
That's technically 2 retirements in the space of one evening.
Technically, it's a DNS. Technically, it's a DNS.
A DNS, okay. DNS. It's a DN something. At this point.
DN something.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's 2 DN somethings. So there we go. Ben Chiles still lining up on top. And just a reminder as well, if you've just joined us here tonight, obviously, whilst we were under full 100% race conditions in the previous session, we've had to do a lobby restart because the Steam servers went down. Nothing to do with the F1 game, just the Steam servers went down and wiped everything off. And it's because Lewis McGlade's here, really.
It's not because of me. We've been through this. It's not. I know you're trying to blame me. Look, there's a few things that don't exist in this world. For one, I'm not at fault for this. For 2, the commentator's curse is total rubbish. I'm just saying it now. And also, again, vote for someone that's not George Morgan in the VCSM Awards.
Yeah,
right?
which automatically means vote for me. So thanks again, Lewis McGlade, for that. Waiting.
Do you know what? Do you know what, George? I'll say it now.
Yes.
I'd take you winning the award.
Sorry?
I'd take you winning the award. I'd be all right with it. I've already won it twice.
Hey, look,
really
as far as I'm concerned, if I win it or you win it, it's a victory for ESLR1. So there we go. Fantastic.
Exactly.
There we go. Nonetheless.
It's our junior that can't win it.
No. Well, he was at Gamers 8, so I'd argue that technically.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Saying that my son, my second son, Zach Sweeney, can't win it.
Well, he's not the ESLR1, so yeah, no, it wouldn't be a victory for ESLR1 if he does it. Not saying that he shouldn't win it. No, I think it'd be great for him. You know,
I'm just making sure you're digging your grave. It's fine, don't worry.
Yeah, no. Me and Zach Sweeney go back a long way, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, apparently not longer than with me.
Yeah, absolutely right. Former F1 League racing commentator as well, Zach Sweeney. So there we go. So, and that was before he ventured into pastures new. But yes, no, fantastic. We got scenes here though, folks, because the top 11 are all on medium tyres. Only a sprinkling of 4 drivers in this 19-car field have the softs. And Vance de Gable being one of them, as well as Will Gibson, Zoltan Boda, and Gab. That is the 4 that are currently lined up on softs. We have 1 driver occupying the hards this time, and it's Christoph Uvegas who is lining up on that compound. 3 drivers already choosing to pit, and that is Thomas Ronhaar himself, Gab, and Christoph Uvegas. They've all opted to change tyres already.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is, fair enough. Obviously, Ronhaar was already at the back, so. It makes sense for him to have changed tyres. I'm actually kind of surprised that Perejne didn't, even though it's only the 1 lap, so who knows. Obviously, the strategy that you're approaching the race with is now completely different, with it only being a 50% race distance. And if I remember correctly, because it is a 50% distance race, tyres wear differently than they would have done in a 100%
He's in again.
race, right? Ronhaar comes in again. Same with Christoph Vegas.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
They do wear differently, don't they?
He's used all 3 compounds of slick tyres. He's used the mediums, the hards, and the softs. And same can be said for Christoph Uvegas in behind as well. He's done exactly the same as Thomas Ronhaar. Not in the same order. Obviously, they were on different tyres at the very beginning. And contrasting tyres, in fact, hards for Ronhaar. It was mediums for Uvegas. Now, both of them are currently occupying the soft tyres that are now fresh. So there we go. That's interesting. Very interesting call indeed. So that implies that they're going aggressive now for the next portion of the race. Still under safety car conditions at this time. But this means that they will be utilising a 3-stop strategy here in this race at the very least.
Yeah, again, these tyres will wear more than they would have done in the first portion of the race because we are only running 50%. As Gareth Allen confirms in chat, shout out, of course, was much better in commentary alongside me in the first round of the season at Monza. Just saying. Anyway, I'm not going to certainly dispute that. I've had many occasions when I've actually commentated with Gareth Allen. He's a fantastic commentator, and working actually with him this weekend. Incidentally, if you're tuning into the F1 Creator Series at all this weekend as well, which is also 100%. I wasn't invited.
Sorry?
I wasn't invited.
Only the best commentators are, Lewis.
Oh, I see. Man,
joking.
That makes sense.
I'm joking. Right, okay, so lap 3 of 28. Ben Chiles leads the way. Safety car coming in this lap. Istvan Tarkani also in second. Eisner in third. Jaba Hidegas in fourth. And if you've just joined us as well, this is a restart. Remember, previously we were running a 100% race. Because we had a Steam crash, the Steam servers went down. So as a result, the F1 servers went down. Therefore, we could not race under the 100% race. But because we want to make sure we get a full bit of action for you, we're going to do the second half in 50% conditions. And now, at this stage, on lap 3 of 28, from said lobby restart, we've got Ben Chiles, who leads the way, heading through towards the final couple of corners on lap 3 of 28, soon to become lap 4 of 28. How soon will he go? Looks like he's going to try and put the pressure down on that throttle pedal this time around now as he ventures through the final corner, and it's pedal to the metal once again here at Kota. And now Ben Chiles will make his way up through towards turn 1. Istvan Tarkani in second place as well, with Eisner in third, Hidegas in fourth, Timbo in fifth, Marchi as well further down in sixth. They're all in tandem, nose to tail. Magsala as well, showing all over the rear of Ulas Ozilder. It might fancy his chances as they head through the slalom.
Yeah, riding on board with the Ferrari driver, Danny Masala right now, but remember that Ulas Ozilder is one of the fastest drivers on this grid. We saw him battling for victory in the initial portion of this race before we went under red flag conditions and then went back racing. So watch out for Ulas Ozilder to work his way actually a lot further up the order. We know he's going to battle for victory today as, oh my goodness me, looking straight down the inside was Danny Masala, who's actually lost out to Will Gibson straight around the outside as they head down to the hairpin.
Yeah, he actually made the move coming out of turn 10.
Whoa.
Oh no! Deary me, and that's a Spinala, and I think it might have been Benjamin Okoye who got caught up in that as well. He was spooked a little bit heading out of that left-hander at turn 11 and is now at the mercy of Christoph Uvegas. Unfortunately, it was Gabor Vajda who was actually caught up in all that as well. We got more movement there as well. Danny McSala again being picked off here by Zoltan Boda this time around. Will Gibson, of course, making the move earlier on, coming through turn 10, but McSala with the outside line, it's not going to favour him heading through towards this next left. He makes contact with Zoltan Boda, but Boda taking 12th place away, and on the softs that are no doubt going to perform better here in lap 4 of 28 against the mediums. He will now move onwards and upwards. Danny Berejnay now all over the back of the Scuderia Ferrari.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was indeed Vida who's dropped back to the rear of the field. That was the one that was involved. That was the Aston Martin that you saw going perpendicular to the race. Circuit straight across and into the barrier. Like I say, I think Benjamin Okoye involved with it. We're right on board with Danny Berejnay trying to get past Chicken Tika's brother, but he's going to have to worry about Thomas Ronhaar making it 3 wide in the first corner. The Haas driver straight, that's Alfa Romeo driver rather straight down the inside, and Ronhaar up into 13th position. Yeah,
he certainly is. Berejnay, though, far from done. They make their way through turns 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, very soon 7 as well. Still Ronhaar occupying 13th place as they went 3 wide heading in towards turn 1. He was able to control the pace and manage it extremely well. 13th now on this classification. He's just gone purple as well in the first sector. Last lap being his fastest, well, certainly his best lap being a 1:35.653 that he achieved on that previous lap. And he holds the fastest lap of the race so far as well. Further back, we have Gab as well coming to blows here with Danny McSala. Again, 3 wide of sorts here, as we see the McLaren now coming under a little bit of pressure. Of course, trying to put the squeeze on the Ferrari, who's now trying to find his way in towards the next left. DRS still not yet open. B. Danny and Ulas Yildirim also going at it, wheel to wheel, heading through sector 3. Inside line here from Yildirim. Fantastic move, and manages to hold on to 8th place. And now B. Danny at the mercy of David Vincher, who's going to try it, heading through the outside soon as they come out of turn 12.
Yeah, exactly. Side by side, of course. Guess who it is? Yep, it's Ronhaar trying to drag his way past, pulling the exact same delta off the corner as he tries to get past Zoltan Boda. This time, as he works his way through, is going to clear the AlphaTauri. Now, next one up for him is Will Gibson. Gets the brake slightly early going into the final corner, punches it out through the last one. Might make a move going into the first corner. I think Danny Berejnay will certainly clear Zoltan Boda.
Yeah, certainly will. Milan Mayer now down the inside as well, having a look on Flex's marching movements being made right through the field here. And Milan Mayer wants to get this move done because obviously he's going to be very wary of Ulas Yildirim in behind, who is certainly capable of making these overtakes stick. As he made their way through the first sector here on lap 6 of 28. Again, though, Ulas Yildirim looking so much better in the corners, trying to hit those apexes every which way, but the rain now starting to fall here, and we are right on the precipice here. Now, the big question is, does Illes come in? Does anyone come in here on this lap?
Yeah, exactly. This is where things get interesting. Obviously, we were heading into wet weather in the previous attempt of the race, where things started getting very exciting. Straight down the inside, Will Gibson to go on Vince. Ronhaar, though, going to try and clear both of them. 1 and 2 as he comes out of the corner on this back stretch, perfectly side by side. DRS open for the pair of them. The slipstream going the way of Danny Benson, the Alpine drivers. They come down to the hairpin.
Yep, they're wheel to wheel still. Down in towards the next left-hander. It's a very tricky bend to take in the wet conditions. Turn 12 certainly goes Ronhaar's way. Of course, currently occupying those soft tyres, and you can understand it to a certain degree. Obviously, knowing that the weather is going to turn bad, they may as well make the most of the soft tyres while they have them here, Lewis.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Spot on as Ronhaar continues to battle with Danny Venture. They can't towards his faster. This is where he should have the grip advantage, but again, it's going to be slightly wetter offline right now. Still going to be fully committed to it. Almost contact with the front right wheel and the rear left. Going through Alfa Romeo to Alpine, throws it through the penultimate corner, and then straight down onto pit lane. They are all going to come down onto pit lane. They've got to get onto the median straight away. Yeah, they certainly do. Ben Chilez coming in as well. Every car bar Zoltan Boda coming into the pit, so he's the only car of everybody. Gabor Vajda has in fact stayed, well, he's actually come in as well, so only one car remains, and it's Zoltan Boda. He's going it alone at this stage. So the big question is, obviously, DRS is disabled, and that will surely mean that the conditions vastly outweigh the use of those slick compound of tyres. So this does expose Zoltan Boda quite extensively here, and the gap is only 10.4 seconds. Ben Chilez is going to be putting some real hits into that delta right now. Yeah, Zoltan Boda clearly stayed out because he wants to lead a lap and get some cheeky bits of broadcast time, as David Vincer is the first driver in the restarted race to pick up a time penalty for multiple warnings of track excursions, and even including that, he's actually going to drop back behind Thomas Ronhaar, who's made a move going through the exit of the S's section, and now is up into 12th position, which will become 11th once Zoltan Boda comes into the pit lane.
Yeah, Danny Berejnay was also looking on David Vincer as well. I think he thought, well, if Thomas Ronhaar can open up the door, then maybe I can also make use of it and walk straight through it. He could not quite pull it off. Of course, Vincer doing enough to try and shut it. So they head out of turn 11, down the long straight. Of course, no DRS this time. It has been disabled. Ulas Yildirim and Milan Mayer, though, coming together. Nothing stopping the wheel-to-wheel action occurring here at COTA. As now Danny Berejnay using the aero, no doubt. Heading in towards turn 12. A little flick of the wrist, though, here as Thomas Ronhaar and Will Gibson come together. And the Alfa Romeo now moving up to 11th place. Will Gibson struggling under the wet conditions.
Yeah, exactly. And just to clarify as well, once again, for people that have just tuned in, we have already done 20-odd laps. It was 22 laps before we got basically a red flag. The server went down. There's nothing we could do with it. And it effectively caused an actual red flag where we were bailed from the session. We had a little bit of filling time and then got back racing. It's a 50% race distance from when we got restarted. And Bent Ulles was the one who had pole position. He grabbed pole position, basically a second qualifying system to set the grid. And continues to lead from Mr. Van Tarkani. Yeah,
Timbo now under pressure as Ulas Yildirim on the intermediate tyres makes his way through, coming out of turn 1. Lovely move as well from him. It just goes to show how brilliant he truly is, even in the wet conditions, and definitely one to watch this coming F1 Esports season. Of course, knows how to certainly position himself in LAN events, has proven it with ESL R1 as well, as we now see Milan Mayer trying to close up on Timbo as well, who's also built a stellar showing in single-seater performance, in league racing historically, in the F1 scene and in the community himself as well. Definitely one to watch, and has always been a solid and top performer. Danny Berejnay as well, looking to try and lunge and make some moves as well. We'll have a great chance, I think, down at the end of the main straight. I don't think he'll be alone either as well, because there's cars queued up behind, including the likes of David Vincer, who might choose to perhaps make a move on Will Gibson. We'll need to make sure that he can get within the aero. Of course, no concerns here for Thomas Ronhaar either, who actually manages to certainly breeze up towards B Danny as well. We saw Danny Berejnay as well, wheel to wheel. He gets past Marchi Flexis, but a great move as well from Thomas Ronhaar. As now we see Danny trying to find a way, coming out into turn 13, just could not quite retort against the Dutchman.
Do you know, it's taken a while for Ronhaar to have gotten past Danny Benzer, so you know, it's certainly to clear the Alpine. It's taken a good couple of a lap and a bit, so longer than expected, really. I think that's longer than expected even for Ronhaar. Also, by the way, whilst we've got 20 laps left to go in this race, because I'm sure a lot of you will be wondering what were things like when it was before we went under red flag. We were under safety car at that point, by the way. We're about to get back racing. It was Ben Charbot-Cogny that was leading from Milan Mayer and Bent Illis. So Bent Illis was on the podium effectively when we got that red flag out. Milan Mayer, though, keep an eye on him because he's in 7th spot at the moment, closing into the back of Timbo, as we can keep our eye on Shaba Higuedes, who's getting back to the rear end of Norbert Eisner on the final step of the podium. The pace has been a lot more settled on the restarted races. Danny Bench has gone round. Yeah, Danny Bench. I mean, obviously, Vincer has now gone on through 15th place. Danny Bench, and he's down now ahead of Christoph Uvegas, so a bit of a moment there. Danny McSala receiving a 3-second time penalty as well, so the punishments being brought out by race control and the stewards here. Ben Charbot-Cogny, 16th place, and actually ahead of Christoph Uvegas, so I think he's struggling on that intermediate compound because he's got Zoltan Boda all over his rear right now as they look to make their way out of turn 10. You can just see that Williams flapping around on the wet and nearly onto the grass, but Zoltan Boda opening the door straight away and makes the move. Yeah, that was a nice one from Boda. As we look back now to Will Gibson, you've got Flex's Marcy behind. You've got David Vincer, who's dropped back. The McLaren driver finds itself in 13th position as well. Might close up to this. We know that Gabor Cechik has got plenty of pace to try and close his way on. Back on board with Thomas Ronhaar. Milan Mayer now behind Ronhaar, and the Dutchman's going to try and clear Timbo. Obviously, that's a driver you definitely don't want to make contact with in the way through. You won't get an invite back into the series. No, not at all. No, you want to be a little careful here, Ronhaar. Though I think you might find the inside line. It'll be oh so easy as well. Just look at this. Timbo drifting out wide under the conditions. They're very tricky here around COTA. It's quite a flat circuit in a sense.
and just coasting along the asphalt. It certainly did not hinder Thomas Ronhaar. He's now 6th here in this classification, and ahead of Timbo now. Next up on his list is Eisner for P5.
Yeah, the caution came out once again as the Alpine of Danny Benson was the one that went round and has got back going again very clearly, so it's fine. But down in 90th position, we ride on board with Ronhaar. And it's more about now the gap between himself and the race leader. You know, you're talking a few seconds there for Ronhaar to try and close back in as Danny Berezne straight back on the up and under as we head down into the S's section. Such a good move there from Berezne on Milan Mayer.
Yeah, stellar overtake as well, getting past Milan Mayer in the most difficult circumstances ever. I mean, I wouldn't recommend going wheel to wheel through the S's, especially here at Kota. They're so fast, almost requisite of what we see at Britain. And we got some moves further up as well with Ulas Azurim going past Jaba Hidegas and now moves up into 3rd place as well. So the moves, even in the wet, might be even amplified by the wet, is actually allowing drivers such as Ulas Azurim utilising their experience that they have obviously gained in these conditions to obviously make these overtakes. Thomas Ronhaar also going to do exactly the same as well. He opens up the door this time as well on SMG Eisner, coming down in towards the inside line, now coming out of turn 12, late on the brakes. And I'll tell you this, Jabo Degas, who tried to retort against Ulas Azurim, just lost his car so ever so slightly and went off at turn 12.
Easily done, especially in conditions as difficult as this. It is tricky, it's treacherous out there. On board with Ronhaar is going to go for the up and under on Shaba Hagedis as they depart the double hairpin section around the outside of the quadruple right-hander. And see ya, he says to Mercedes around. He goes, not the first time this year that he said that one, as he works his way now into 4th position. 2.9 seconds off the back is Ulas Azurim from Istvan Tarkani. So Ronhaar could definitely still win, but he needs to clear Ulas Azurim fairly quickly.
Yeah, the last time he beat a Mercedes in competitive action was back at the first F1 Esports event, of course, beating Jarno Opmeer. Of course, the rivalry that has burnt between the two Dutchmen has been paramount all across the community now for quite some time, at least over the last 2 seasons, as Ronhaar has managed to certainly try and propel himself to the forefront in F1 Esports action. And this, again, a great advert for what he has brought to the table here for Alfa Romeo. As now we see a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting going to Christoph Uvegas, who has actually been doing that consistently and is actually DNF'd as well. So he's out of the race. And Danny Benser also out as well, as we know. So that's 2 DNFs here in the race so far. We're down to 17 drivers here in this race. Milan Mayer now up to 8th as well as he gets past Timbo. And also Danny Berezne now moves up to 6th as he makes his way past SMG Eisner. And he might get Jaba Hidegas, his teammate, as well.
Yeah, it's Gogoli Talamos as well, who's the technically the 3rd driver who's not joined the restarted section as Ronhaar and as Berezne works his way past Shaba Hagedis. That one's probably not really too well fought. Norbert Eisner's trying to get around the outside of the Mercedes as well. Once again, the cautions, the yellow flags remain out on the circuit. It's the inside look as they work their way into the first of the hairpins. Comes as Hagedis was trying to get his way back through. It was probably more defensive though towards Eisner. He's trying to work his way around the outside. It's going to be brave.
Yeah, he lost the car slightly coming out of turn 13, turn 14 now as they make their way towards turn 15 and 16 very shortly. 17 and 18 now as they make their way through the double right-hander and now in towards turn 19. Still can't quite find a way back past Hidegas and Eisner right now. Obviously, we saw Hidegas sort of just sliding all across the circuit. Managed to recover the car though. 6th place. Now looking to try and reclose up on Danny Berezne, which is going to be very hard in these conditions, given the fact that there's no DRS now.
More.
And we got Gab in the pits.
Interesting. It's the McLaren driver, Titchett. I don't think it's as scary as it looks. It's just because it's T-Y-E-T-Y-I-K or something like that. I don't think it's as scary as it looks.
No, not at all. Comes in the pits, and it's wet tyres. He's opted for a real change here. And I'll tell you this, we are due to have the wet conditions, I think, with us through the entirety of the rest of the race. So a very big call here from Gab, who now comes out in 17th place at the tail of the field. But it could be a really strong move should this wet weather continue.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is an interesting call for sure. But the thing is that the slicks to inters is a very clear transfer. Like, even we can see that from a distance. That's not a problem. The inters to wets from a distance is a harder thing to tell. And it's where, we need to trust on what the drivers are doing and how they're piecing their way through it. So maybe it is now time to switch onto those wetter compound tyres. You can see some snaps of oversteer coming in from Mr. Van Tarkani. So maybe it is certainly time to jump onto the wets. It doesn't look it, but maybe it is just ticking its way over.
Yeah, no, absolutely right indeed. We'll have to wait and see whether the top drivers currently in this classification choose to do the same. Obviously, Ben Chilez, who's been 5 laps on these intermediate tyres. Not really long in the context of this race so far. Thomas Ronhaar still with the fastest lap you'd expect. Obviously, he did that in dry conditions. Jaba Hidegas defending against Eisner, who has been swapping all over the back of him, trying to find a way through, but Hidegas just doing enough to hold him back and retain that 7th place. As they come through and into the pits comes Ben Chilez. So, indeed, he will no doubt swap onto the wets. Tarkani staying out, as is Ronhaar. So does Ulas Ozilrim. So an unpopular decision from Ben Chilez in terms of what the other drivers feel. He's not alone, though, because Jaba Hidegas has done the same.
Yeah, like I say, Ben Chilez and Hidegas and Marcy as well, working his way in, as has Danny Masala, David Vincer. So I don't know if we're quite there at wet weather conditions, but we're certainly close enough that a decent portion of the grid are working their way out onto the lane. It's Alfa Romeo then running 1 and 2. Esteban Tarkani with Thomas Ronhaar. You've got Ulas Ozilrim behind. And do not count out Danny Berezna. He's been absolutely fantastic throughout this race thus far, as we can see where Gab's going to work out straight around the outside of Flexus Marcy. Yeah,
he's done quite well, actually. Based on this, managing to recoup some of the places that he lost. Remember, he came out 17th place. He's now back into 13th. For Gab, this is not a bad performance so far because he started 16th on the grid and has now only got 1 lap accrued on those wet tyres, and they will no doubt take him to the end. Ben Chilez managing to stay out in front, but remember, Ben Chilez was the race leader. Now currently sits 11th. Now I'd imagine that we'd expect the rest of the cars coming in as well. But look at this 3-wide scenario here between Ronhaar, Ozilrim. Maybe a prerequisite of F1 Esports we might be seeing now, as 2 Alfa Romeos currently hosting the top, well, 2 of the top 3 places. Ronhaar now in the lead of the race, holds on to it with Ulas Ozilrim in behind, peppering the rear wing on his car. The Dutchman, though, denying him at every turn. And Ronhaar now with the lead here at Kota.
And that fight has allowed the Mercedes and Berezna to close his way back in. 4 for the race lead in tricky wet conditions as we approach what will be halfway in the restarted race. Of course, realistically, it's 3/4 into the running here at the circuit in the Americas. They punched their way back out on the start-finish straight. As much as quite a few drivers have come in and gone onto the wet tyres, I get the feeling that, if you're in Ronhaar's position, same with Ozilrim and Tarkani and Berezna, whilst this group doesn't come in and go onto the wet, you might as well wait for it to clear up. Again, the initial forecast was that it was going to clear up in the final portion of the race. We were going to get some overcast condition. So it might be waiting out for it to, I wouldn't say dry up, but stop raining as hard.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. It could be the case that they're perhaps waiting for the improved wet conditions. So maybe just, get it to the point where it's just lightly damp. I'm looking at it now, and I will say Ben Chilez is making ground on those wets. He's just overtaken Zoltan Boda, and that is no mean feat. Zoltan Boda, a very fast league racer in his own right, and Ben Chilez now already within, shall we say, DRS range, despite there being no DRS here at this stage due to the wet conditions of Benjabo Konyi. So this has been a truly magnificent strategy choice on paper here from Ben Chilez, who now looks to launch a charge here on Benjabo Konyi. Only 7 laps accrued on those intermediates. They can go a lot longer, but it's not going to stop Ben Chilez from making the move here on the wets, which confirms to me that this is a wet weather tyre scenario here. You there, Lewis? I think we might have lost Lewis McGlade here.
No, I clicked the mute button. I clicked the mute button on my microphone because I was sick of talking to you, George. It's fine. I am here. What I was going to say is, I think it's well known from the grid that at the moment this is definitely wet weather conditions. It's absolutely the wet weather tyre is the right one. It's just, it's about playing the right strategy at the moment, and that's where it's less clear. Yes, the wet tyres are faster right now, but is doing an extra stop going onto the wets and then going back onto the inters. Do you save a pit stop time-wise from going on the wets? This is where it's fascinating. This is why these conditions are so exciting.
Yeah, well, Will Gibson's now coming into the pits as well. So there we go. That's another car that I'm sure is going to evict the intermediates. Go on to the wets. Ben Chilez now coming down the straight. He's overtaking Eisner now for 6th place. He's got that favourable inside line as well. He'll hit the apex, remain there in the top 6 now. Only 3.4 seconds to find on Milan Mayer. And I have to tell you, his pace is looking good. If I just look at the last lap times, he's incidentally nearly 3 seconds faster per lap than Thomas Ronhaar.
Yeah, exactly. This is looking really good for Bentelis, who's been on pole position twice today. So, obviously, he's got some decent pace around here and is clearly showing it. It's just, again, it will definitely be the right call to have gone on the wets if he gets to Ronha and passes Ronha and then leads. Because at that point, if you have to pit and then go on the inters, as much as the others are already on the right tyres, it should still kind of work out in favour because they're probably going to be on slightly some more WOR ones. But then if we're going to go back to slick conditions, you can already see Bentelis there coming straight off of the drying or the drier line, the less wet line. Let's call it that one. The less wet line to maybe get onto the. Honestly, it's fascinating. I don't know what the right call is right now.
No, it could go anywhere. I mean, at this point as well, the big measure as well will be after he gets past Milan Mayer. If he does get past Milan Mayer, which I highly expect him to, he's then got a 5.3 second gap to close on Istvan Tarkani. So it's not going to be easy for him. He's going to try and rein it in as best he can. We're beyond the halfway point in this race and heading out of turn 12, 13, 14. Very soon to be 15, 16 and 17. Now he's going to go round the outside, heading through the double right-handers. Ooh. That is a tremendous move and goes to show the difference between the cars. And in comes Danny Berejnay.
Now this is surely this is onto wets.
Has to be.
Surely. The only reason why I say that is because unless he's going on to a second set of inters, it is going to be a second set of inters. I'm a genius.
Interesting. So the complexion has changed vastly since. Does Danny think the weather will improve to an intermediate level of weather? That is intriguing. We did not quite expect that necessarily. You might have, Lewis, but I have to tell you, it's gone against the grain of what we have seen over the last few laps. So a big call from Danny Berejnay, fresh intermediate tyres. Just how quick are you at this point? And Danny McSala has retired. Could this be a safety car?
Oh, this could be a safety car. We'll have to wait and see as we can see the Mercedes driver Csaba Kadaitis working his way through the SS section. The only reason why I asked if Danny Berejnay was going on to the inters rather than the wets is it was too late to really commit to the wets. And we know Berejnay's a fantastic driver, so it kind of would have been a weird one for him to have made such an odd strategy call. The thing is with him going on to the inters is he's trying to undercut Ronha, Ulas Yildirim and Istvan Tarkani. He doesn't care about Bentelis at the moment, or even Csaba Kadaitis, who makes this move straight down the inside of bench Jabo Konyi with excellent fashion, once again showing how much grip he's got. Eisner and Zolt and Boda work their way through. Let's see that Mercedes driver behind. I think this might be the attempt for Berejnay to clear 2 into 1 into the hairpin.
Yeah, and he'll have fresher tyres than all of them as well because they've all accrued either 9 or 8 laps on their intermediate compounds as now we see him make his way down the inside. That's 2 for the price of 1 for Danny Berejnay. A sensational move indeed. No laps yet accrued on those intermediate tyres and he is starting to jettison himself higher and higher. So here we go. This is when we see whether the chess pieces are in the right places here for Danny Berejnay. Let's see. Ben Gilles now up to 3rd as he gets past Istvan Tarkani. The pace still very much with the Red Bull as in comes Thomas Ronha.
Yeah, I was going to say this might be the expectation from this grouping, that we are going to remain in these kind of conditions until we reach the checkered flag. Obviously, Ronha, Ulas Yildirim, surely they're switching on to the intermediate tyres as well. The inters are probably wearing out quite a bit, so this undercut, let's keep an eye as to where Danny Berejnay is going to go. Can Bence Eilis, can the likes of Csaba Kadaitis, can they get to the end of the race? Can they get to the checkered flag from here on those wet tyres? They need to pray for a bit more rain.
Yeah, I tell you this now, Berejnay has just come out ahead of Thomas Ronha, so that's the difference between the two different aged intermediate compounded tyres. Danny Berejnay obviously on his fresher set, making more time after making the initial stop. He now remains ahead of Thomas Ronha now, just behind Csaba Kadaitis. Now that'll be the true litmus test. How much time does it take Danny Berejnay to close up to Kadaitis and make the overtake happen? I can't imagine, just due to mere skill alone. Obviously we know how good Berejnay is, but at the same time managing it in tricky conditions is a different beast altogether.
Exactly, and this is the whole thing of like, are we going to remain in these conditions to the checker flag? Are we going to see slick tyres even brought out before we get to the checker flag? This race is so up in the air, and you can tell that by simply looking at the timesheet and seeing what tyres everyone's on, because it's very rare in racing where you see a 50-50 split, inters and wets. At this point, we've got 16 drivers, and genuinely, 8 of them are on the intermediates, 8 of them are on the wets. Who is in the right, who is in the wrong? At this point, I honestly have absolutely no idea, and I am here for it. I love not knowing where we're going in this race, so it's what's making it exciting.
Yeah, well, looking at the last laps again, I can tell you that Istvan Tarkani in second was nearly 5 seconds slower than Ben Chilez in P1. That's the difference. So 1:52.7 was the last lap set by Ben Chilez. It was a 1:57.6 from Istvan Tarkani. So that's the difference here. Tarkani coming into the pits as well, and no doubt he's lost oodles amount of time here. Remember, he was right with Berejne and Ronhart earlier on, and Ozilderim. Let's see how much time he's going to lose, and I think it's going to be extensive.
Yeah, they're going to drop right the way down. Like I say, they're unfortunately at a point where it's too late to commit either way, unless we get maybe a safety car. We're going to get at least a virtual safety car, because the McLaren driver is out of the race, unfortunately.
Yes, he certainly is. He is out of the race. We're now down to 15 drivers. Could that be turned into a safety car? It is turned into a safety car. So there we go. Race control deeming it worthy of a mere safety car condition, which is great news if you're Danny Berejne, great news if you're Thomas Ronhart, and great news if you're Ulas Ozilderim, because it means it allows the wet weather to dry up. Should that be the conditions they're expecting? I mean, I can tell you this, folks, the air temperature now sits at 18 degrees, track temperature now down to 20. It's dropped down all the way from 28 degrees that we had in qualifying. So that is just a snapshot of how cold this circuit really is. 8 degrees makes all the difference, especially considering that it takes a lot of heating up to get these particular tyres up to temperature, especially with water on the track.
Yeah, exactly. This is where things are getting interesting, and unfortunately for Benson Eilis, like, right now, this is bad. This is really bad. It's kind of just unfortunate where the safety cars come out. We're going to have, 8 laps of racing, 9 laps of racing by the time we get back underway when the green flag once again is returned to the circuit. I think you've got to get rid of these wet tyres. I think it will be Inters. Although that said, the Inters will be slower, maybe for a lap once the safety car comes in, courtesy of the tyres getting cooler, and the wet tyres should theoretically come to temperature a little faster because of the conditions.
Well, I mean, one thing, Ben Chilez can take from this is that he was fastest in qualifying. So, if it means that he gets onto a brand new set of Inters and hot laps his way to the end, I mean, this is decision time as far as he's concerned. He's got to decide whether he opts to change onto a set of intermediates like the rest of the competitors here on the grid, or whether he's going to now stay on the he is going to come in. So there we go. Without a doubt, this is going to be a move onto fresh intermediate tyres. So here we go. Let's see. Because Danny Berejne now is going to, whether he actually gets past, I'm not sure, because obviously they've got to run to Delta. In comes Jaba Hidegas. He's going to come in and change onto Inters as well. There's Ben Chilez. Now, where does he come out? This is going to be very tight.
Oh, might not be bad. It might not be bad. So bad. As you can see, Danny Berejne here working his way down the start-finish straight. Now, remember, as long as wherever Ben Eilis departs the pit lane is the position that he's going to be restarting this race. And might just be once he's got to the end of the pit lane line. So he'll be in 4th position. Shaba Higadis, son, did you just select the wrong tyres? Slick tyres, softs.
I think if you look in the live chat right now, Lewis McGlade, you'll see where that source of information came from. Zach Serini, forget Inters or wets. I want to see someone on the slicks. Well, your prayers have been answered, Zach Serini. I can tell you that Java Higadis has actually decided to opt for that strategy. It's been nice knowing you, Java. I certainly don't think we're going to be getting a double Mercedes podium this time around.
Do you know what? I have never respected anyone more in the world of sim racing than Shaba Higadis right now. Going on the slick tyre. I don't care if that's the wrong choice, if he now spins, retires into the barrier. If that is intentional, I respect.
He's a walking contradiction, Lewis McGlade, because he's got a Verstappen helmet in a Mercedes.
Which, again, I respect. I absolutely respect. I don't know how he feels about Abu Dhabi 2021, but right now, I don't trust his decision-making on circuit, but I do respect it.
Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. So there we have it. Java Hidegas, he's doing it for the fans, everybody. Sitting in 6th place, and just ahead of Milan Meyer, in behind Istvan Tarkani. Danny Berejne, though, out of all of this, smart moves there from the front pairing, who have opted onto the fresher set of intermediate tyres and now are ahead of Ben Chilez. But the big question is, can they keep Ben Chilez in behind? Because remember, this was the fastest man in qualifying in both sessions of qualifying, can I just add, in our previous set one and also the one leading into this particular race. And he's on a fresher set of tyres than anybody. Of course, bar Jaba Higadis, but we're not even going to enter soft tyres into the fray here in this top 10 equation. Timbo's on fresh set too, but I think definitely Ben Chilez is the one to watch out of those drivers.
Maybe. Then again, do remember that half the grid didn't qualify as well.
That's true.
So who knows? Honestly, who knows? We'll see if Jarbo Gaydis might actually come back down to the pit lane. I hope he doesn't, because I just want to see the memes. By the way, whilst Zach Sweeney's in chat, we'll give a shout out once more. Again, VCO Simi Awards. Go and vote for Zach Sweeney rather than myself, and definitely rather than George Morgan. You can't say, now you should take it back and now vote for me. You can't say it while Zach's in chat now, can you, George?
You know the real reason behind this, don't you, folks? It's because he is the only one in the ESLR1 broadcast team that has a VCO Simi award that was actually at Sweden. So I think that is the obvious reason. If I walk away with a VCO Simi award title, it means it's not as special anymore. That's why.
That's true. Honestly, when I was packing my suitcase for Sweden,
you were going to bring it with you. You were going to bring it.
I am not joking. I was seconds away. If I didn't have to put so much garbage into it, because obviously I went to Portugal for a little golf.
Outrageous.
If I didn't have to put so much garbage, I was so close to putting the VCO Simi Awards in my suitcase.
Goodness me!
I think that would have been really funny.
Absolutely outrageous, Lewis McGlade. I thought you were better than that, sir, but obviously not. But,
what do you mean you thought I was better than that?
Oh, outrageous. Incredible. There we go. But there we incredible. I think it would have been I think it would have looked great on the broadcast. I mean, I'm sure Florian Haspar would have been absolutely thrilled to see one of his prizes up on the
on the ESL. Yeah, that is, to be fair, that is true. But then we had the This Is Fine plushie.
We did. Now that was very well placed, I thought. I was actually quite impressed that I managed to get it to balance on the edge of the table. Because it was
good. It was good mid-broadcast bouncing as well.
It really wanted to fall off, but somehow I managed to get it to the perfect gravitational area.
And that's why you should vote for me. No, George. No.
Because I know.
No. I would sooner see you voting for Arjuna than George Morgan.
Because I know where to put stuffed animals. That's why you should vote for me.
No.
So there we go.
Goodness me. Your wife. Goodness me. Anyway, moving on. Straight back onto the race. We're going to have 8 laps left to go. No need to talk about toys.
No, listen, listen, I didn't sing that low, everybody. That was Lewis McGlade, not me. Right, this lap, the safety car's coming in. Back in business, everybody. Danny Berejnay is at the top of the timing sheets. The safety car now is starting to drift away, and it's all going to be down to the Hungarian, who currently sits on intermediate tyres. I do wonder, I think the rain might be just turning a little bit. It looks like it's not as heavy as it was before. Whether we're going to see that conditions maybe better away a little bit more than what they already have, I can tell you. In fact, it's going to stop raining in 12 minutes. So there we go. Danny Berejnay is going to make his way around the final corner. He's got Thomas Ronhart for company. And once again, as they venture through turn 20, once again closing out lap 20, it becomes lap 21, and it's pedal to the metal once again here at Kota. And it's Danny Berejnay who leads them through towards turn 1. Thomas Ronhart in second, Ulas Azildarim in third, Timbo as well under scrutiny here from Milan Mayer, who now poleaxes his way through down the inside. There's now Timbo and Benjabo Konyi also visiting together on the outside of turn 1. Benjabo Konyi challenging Timbo as well. He's up to 7th place, and Will Gibson up to 12th.
And we'll give our salute to Shaba Hagedis, who has clearly gone onto the soft tyres a little bit too early. Little bit. Yeah, we might see some dry conditions for the podium ceremony post-race. For the rest of the race, it is certainly going to be wet. Honestly, respect the mean, Chief. Well done for at least keeping it on the road. I'm sure we'll either come back into the pit lane, or hey, might try and give himself a big challenge to reach the checkered flag. Danny Berejnay then leads from Ronhart, Zildarim and Bence Eilis as well on the fresher of the intermediate tyres at the front.
Yep, DRS chicken now is not on the table, so Thomas Ronhart will go for the lead straight away. Tries to look for the outside line heading in towards turn 12. A nudge in the rear though from Ulas Zildarim. Now that might... Now, is there going to be front wing damage on Ulas Zildarim's car? We'll have to wait and see. This is not the conditions to have it. He looks okay. Heading through now the latter stages of this lap, lap 21 of 28. It is still Berejnay with the advantage, but a fired warning shot here from Thomas Ronhart, who currently sits in second place. Now, is he going to hold on to it? Can he get past Berejnay, or will he be served up on a plate here for Ulas Zildarim?
Yeah, I mean, I think like Azildarim's front wing is absolutely fine. Bentola's going out a little bit wide, going through the quadruple right-hander as they work their way back out onto the start-finish straight. Just 7 laps left to go. Danny Berejnay continues to lead. Of course, we had a Mercedes victory in the last round of the championship. I know this is an unofficial round of the championship, a community round effectively for the championship. but Danny Berejne has come fresh from a podium just last week. Ron Haar in his first ever 100% race. I know it's 50%, but we're not going to talk about it, that's fine. They've been racing for a couple of hours. That's the important bit. And Ron Haar would dearly love to take victory in this one.
Yeah, they certainly would do. Lap 22-28 now. Ron Haar is literally pushing Danny Berejne now around the first sector here at this stage. Certainly looks dialed in here at the COTA circuit, the circuit of the Americas, that has hosted now the United States Grand Prix for quite some time. The first race being back in 2012 on October the 21st. 120,000 capacity ground here, certainly here. And historically, in the United States Grand Prix in itself has been on the table since 1908. That was the first US Grand Prix, as we now see the cars make their way out of turn 11 now, down the long straight. No DRS this time, but the aero will do here for Thomas Ron Haar. Side by side here with Danny Berejne. It's going to be Mercedes v Alfa Romeo heading down in towards turn 12. Berejne, though, once again, like he did the last lap, favouring the inside line. Switch back here from Ron Haar, who's going to start trying his limits here, heading through turn 13 and turn 14. Will he try a switch back? He certainly will. He'll then have the outside line heading in towards the next left at turn 15. Can he escalate it to a race lead? He starts to cut to the inside. Will he try something through the double rights here, Lewis?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to give it a go, and we'll see if he can work his way past. He's once again up and undering all over the place. He'll have to do it out of the final corner. I know he's going to try it here in 19 with a slightly defensive line. He's going to come from Danny Berejne into the final corner. He's going to have a look. He might have to commit to this one. He's not going to do so. Back out on the start-finish straight. Surely there might be an attempt at a turn one. I don't know if your Wikipedia page is telling you that, George, but we're going to race up there anyway.
You leave Georgepedia alone, mate, as we now see Danny Berejne holding onto the inside line. Here is Thomas Ron Haar, sends it around the outside. Absolutely unbelievable aggression being shown here from Ron Haar. The Dutchman now with his nose in front. Can he get the car in front, or will Berejne answer back straight away? He does. The Hungarian with a stellar retort as he makes his way through the first sector. I can't help but feel that Ron Haar backed out of that a little bit. I think he felt slightly aggrieved for the move he sent at turn 1.
But I've got to say, incredible racing between two of the very, very best, in the world of sim racing on this platform. Who cares? They are definitely going toe-to-toe here. Danny Berejne, who's had a fantastic 2023. He's shown some incredible speed thus far. Look down the inside, filling of the mirrors from Thomas Ron Haar. And you've got to reckon that Danny Berejne is going to feel that pressure. Do not count out Ben Silas as well as Ulas Zildrim, who are definitely knocking at the door of potential victory. Look at the defensive line from Berejne.
Yeah, he went very, very, well, he went very, very defensive to the inside, trying to hold back the tirade that's being put again, and for the third straight time running, Ron Haar trying to put down the assault here on Berejne, who's forced to defend to the inside. Again, they swap to and fro, heading through the very technical sector. Now, this is an opportunity for Ron Haar if he can get the cut back, but look out for Ulas Zildrim here, who's going to try around the outside. He's going to have the switch back here on Ron Haar as well, but this time, once again, it's Danny Berejne who holds onto the lead. Nothing stopping the Hungarian, who still comes out here leading here on lap 23. He is blocking Ron Haar at every turn.
Yeah, such a good drive. The more these fight, by the way, they're bringing in Esteban Tarkani as well as Ben Charbot-Cognier in 6th position. Now, do remember that Ben Charbot-Cognier has had some issues on the restart of this race, but before we had the server issues and the red flag, was also in the lead of the race. So maybe he's going to want to knock at the door of this one once more. Ron Haar to the outside at T1. He tried this on the previous lap. He's going to try it once again. The inside line from Danny Berejne as they depart turn 1. Coming down to the SS section at turn 2. It's Ron Haar to the inside.
Certainly is now as you run on board. No! Danny Berejne spinning. And we said earlier on how going side by side into the S's is not recommended, and that is certainly a prerequisite. The actual collision between Ron Haar and Berejne coming through turn 2 and turn 3. They got too close. The wet weather coming into play, and unfortunately it's ended up with dismay for Danny Berejne. It is now still Ron Haar, though, at the front of the order, though Ulas Zildrim is now the new contender, has entered the fray, and now is looking to try and challenge Thomas Ron Haar for the race win.
Yeah, big shame there for Berejne, who's been so fantastic this race. But we'll have to wait and see if Ulas Zildrim maybe wants to sneak it. 4 laps left to go after this one. Obviously 4 and a bit if you really want to include this one. The defensive line being taken. You've got to watch out with that defensive line. You drive out onto the slightly wetter stuff. You have less grip, of course, on the tyres, and it can generally involve maybe a lock-up, or maybe even just not having the full braking performance of the car. And to be fair to these two, I mean, if they don't fight each other too hard for the next couple of laps, I get the feeling they will pull comfortably clear of Ben Silas. Of course, no assistance from DRS right now, so Maybe they might get that in the final portion of the race if it dries up enough. They'll probably still stay on the intermediates and not go into the slicks, but still, it might help them.
I would argue that if there's one driver Thomas Ronhaar doesn't want at this particular circuit, I would say it's Ulas Yildirim. He's one of the few that can really extract the very best out of conditions such as these. He is very much someone who can race in all conditions, someone who is proven to be able to even escalate himself up timing towers just by mere strategy calls alone. He is a very smart driver, very high IQ. He's a Challengers contender that really took it to Alfie Butcher, who is of course also a Haas driver officially this season. And I must say, Ulas Yildirim in many instances, despite how impressive Alfie Butcher was also just as impressive in his own right as well. And if you're Thomas Ronhaar right now, this is not someone you really want hugging your rear wing.
But it has become a two-horse race. They're pulled 1.6 seconds now over Bensa Eilish. Istvan Tarkani back with them, battling over the final step of the podium. I think it would be very fitting to see Bensa Eilish at least on the podium after what has been, two pole positions today. Technically a podium in the first attempt. This one we got to lap 22. As here comes Ulas Yildirim as he gets himself into the slipstream. Is going to try and work his way past. Is that the DRS open? No, it's not. It's not quite been told by race control that it's open yet. As the Haas driver will fire his way straight around the outside.
He certainly will. A great move there. We saw the rear light flashing as Ronhaar sends it back up the inside, heading out of turn 14 and come wheel to wheel. And now the pair of them will fight it out. Ronhaar with a stellar recovery there, biting back straight away against Ulas Yildirim in great style. But this is far from over as they now make their way through the double right-handers.
We've got 3 laps left to go after this one, George. I don't know which way it's going to go, and you get the feeling between these two, especially considering no thoughts of championship, no thoughts of nothing. It is literally this race or bust. So we see the defensive line being taken.
Ronhaar's in.
What? Oh, Ronhaar's coming to the pit lane. It's still on the slicks. It's got to be on the slicks.
It has to be. It has to be. A small matter of time.
3 laps left to go, though.
According to the telemetry, 3 minutes until the rain stops. That will only be a lap and a half. So Ronhaar, I think, has got magic on his mind. Soft tyres on Ronhaar's car. Now that could be brilliant, or it could be a disaster. Let's wait and see. It could be that Ulas Yildirim walks away a race winner come the end of this race. I mean, that is a mighty decision to make on lap 26 of 28 here, Lewis.
I think Ronhaar has entered full banter meme mode as he wants to try and do something incredibly special. Like I say, either he's going to finish down the order and not score anything. Zoltan Boda, by the way, did also come in and take the slick tyres, so clearly he's not the only one to have done so. He's either going to finish right the way down the order and we'll go, well, at least he had some fun. Or he's going to win the race and everyone's going to go, well, at least he picked the right tyres. And we just don't know which one it's going to be. The rain apparently stopped a little while ago. Or at least was really, really slowing. So it is becoming a slick tyre circuit. It's just with 3 laps left to go. There surely isn't enough time. Surely the intermediates are absolutely the right decision to be on, as Istvan Tarkani is going to get second position, rather.
Yeah, side by side with Ben Gilles, who's holding on to the outside line. That is incredible, that call, as now we see Tarkani taking second place. So Alfa Romeo, on one hand, making some really major calls, some major decisions. Tarkani himself doing something stellar. I mean, you could argue that Jabba Hidegas pulled off an immense call as well, as Ben Jabba comes up the inside of Ben Gilles himself as well on more used intermediate tyres. Very interested to see whether that strikes any changes as far as Ulas Yildirim's concerned. He's 3 seconds clear of Istvan Tarkani. If he's going to make a decision, I think he's going to commit. I think really if you were going to make a change, Lewis, you were going to do it the same lap as Thomas Ronhaar.
Yeah, exactly. Now there was what I can't remember what round it was. It was I think it was 2005, 2006.
I think DRS is enabled.
Yeah, I think so. We're definitely going into the slick tyre mode, but it's just, again, I just don't think there's enough time in the race. But yeah, I think it was like 2005, 2006, might have been 2004 with Jenson Button. There was an onboard. If you look at the onboard for his last 2 laps, I think he cleared up about 10 to 15 positions, courtesy of the of being on the right tyre going through the conditions. Obviously, we saw that in 2011 as well with Button. Maybe it needs to be basically the same from Ronhaar. We've got 2 laps to find out, and he has closed up quite a bit. I'm still not sure if this is the right call, but hey, do you know what? He's in for an exciting few rounds. It's going to feel like he's turned the AI down to about 40%.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, already look at how much delta he's hoovered up here on Eisner. Look at this, incredible. Look,
oh my
Eisner
goodness.
isn't even bothering to defend. He knows what's at stake. He knows that Ronhaar is on a different level. Look at the track. It's actually dry. The wet weather is dissipated. It might be damp, but it's certainly not wet. And take a look at Thomas Ronhaar hoovering up the rest of the field. 1.2 seconds now the difference. Benjabo Konyi is going wheel to wheel here with Istvan Tarkani. Battle for second place, as now there's a double Haas representative at the top end of the field. Question is, can ULAS hold on for another lap and a half?
Yeah, whilst all this fighting's exciting, it's kind of, part of me is like, I want to see the next lap and a half on board with Ronhar, because he is about to massacre the field. There's one, there's two. Good day, Will Gibson and Flexus Marcy. And goodbye to you. Ronhar into 9th position. He might win this, you know, and genuinely he has the pace and he is in the position.
Yeah, he's hoovering it all up. Yellow flags in Sector 3 as well. I'm not sure who that's concerning, but already moments happening in this race. Incredible. And we're taking a look at this now. Milan Mayer now going past Danny Berejne, wheel to wheel. Oh, goodness me, the squeeze coming out of turn 1. And this is going to cost even more time as they head through the S's. Now, Berejne already lost out here in this position after coming together with Thomas Ronhar earlier on. This time, it's not going to end in tears for him. But I tell you what, Ronhar is hoovering up the field side by side here with David Vincher, 8th place already, and more to come for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like we say, as the conditions have definitely hit dry on board with Ronhar. Not a very long run indeed. We're ticking off the first sector already. I think Ulas Azildrim's going to be a little bit too far, but he's certainly going to work his way through, getting delayed a little bit by Timbo. This is looking like multi-class traffic at Le Mans right now, with how Ronhar is going to side his way through the field, mostly courtesy of the fact of being on the right tyres at the right time. There's not enough time for him to catch Ulas Azildrim. I just think Azildrim's too far down the road. It was the wrong call, but hey, it's an exciting one.
It is. I mean, there's still a possibility here for P2. I mean, anything can happen. I will be honest. Third sector is going to be absolutely vital because, of course, given the fact that it's quite technical, you need the grip in the tyres, and he has got fresh softs. So this could very easily sway, though he has got 4.4 seconds to find. I know they will dissipate very quickly, but it looks to me like it's all said and done right now. And this man is going to take it to the checkered flag as well in great style. He called it perfectly. The right strategy choice, amazing moves, articulate as a driver. Ulas Azildrim is your victor. He wins here at the United States Circuit, here at the Circuit of the Americas. Stellar showing from him. What a technician. He picked the right spots, picked his strategy, and it's a double. It's a 1-2 for Haas, answering back after Benjabo Konyi lost out on the win last week at Brazil, when, of course, it was a Mercedes 1-2. Well, this time it's revenge for Haas. It's a 1-2 for Haas with Ulas Azildrim winning and Benjabo Konyi in second.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've got to say, for Benjabo Konyi, give a little bit of a shout out. When we did the first portion of this race up to lap 22 of the 56, Benjabo Konyi was in second position in doing so, and obviously, was in the lead rather when doing so, and obviously second here has been fantastic. And technically speaking, it means that through the entirety of the Ironman League, he's actually been on the podium in all of the races, if you include this as being 2 parts. Shows how impressive the Haas driver's been, but again, you just can't give any more shout-outs to Ulas Azildrim. The bravery to have stuck on the slick tyres once you've seen the likes of Thomas Ronhar coming into the pit lane. I still respect for Ronhar, by the way. That was a brave call, but hey, it was exciting. It was brilliant.
Credit to Ulas Azildrim. Great call from him. And I said that if there's one person, I know he didn't do it necessarily on track, but if there was someone that Ronhar wouldn't want in behind him at this point, it would be Ulas Azildrim, because, of course, we know how great he is. We know how brilliant he is in terms of managing his own race. He is vastly experienced when it comes to making key strategic maneuvers, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for this drive. I really do. And probably someone who goes under the radar when it comes to grand performances in league racing, when he's come back and answered all the critics. And has done so brilliantly, and Haas themselves with a great lineup, including the likes of Alfie Butcher in F1 Esports, with, of course, Ulas Azildrim at his side. I mean, that is one formidable outfit that I'm sure are going to go and do great things. And we saw what he did in challenges. Let's see what he can do going forward. But I think this is the start of things to come for Ulas Azildrim.
Yeah, exactly. Again, a couple of struggles throughout the year elsewhere in the world of sim racing, but to end the season on a high. I mean, for quite a lot of these drivers, it's probably not the last race they'll do in 2023, but for some of these it might well be. Not sure how many of them will be racing too hard over the next while, but who knows?
Yeah, no, we'll have to wait and see. But here's the confirmed results, folks. Ulas Azildrim P1, Benjabo Konyi P2, Tarkani 3rd, Ilez in 4th, Berejne in 5th, Milan Mayer 6th, Thomas Ronhar in 7th, Timbo 8th, David Vincher in 9th, Zoltan Boda in 10th. We then have have Gable Vajda in 11th, Will Gibson 12th, Flexus Marchi in 13th, Eisner 14th. We've got Jaba Hagedis in 15th, Gab in 16th, DNF'd, as well as Maxala, Christoph, Danny. They all retired as well. So there you have it, folks. That is your confirmed results here, at least provisionally, unless there's any stewards' decisions that are taken after the race tonight. But I think it's fair to say,
surely not.
I can't imagine there will be. I mean, Thomas Ronhart, purple in that race as well with the fastest lap. So credit to him again, a 1:33.852, no doubt done on the soft tyre run that he did. In fact, it was that last lap that garnered him the fastest lap of the race. No surprises given the fact that that was dry conditions against the wet that we had for the other portions of the race. But despite the, should we call it red flag situation, Lewis, I think we had a great race all in all.
I think the most important bit was that we had fun. That was the most important, especially from this. It was. It's not a part of the main championship. We're doing it as sort of like a bit more of like a one-off in a sense. Where obviously it is what it is. We had fun. We had a great race, and it was exciting.
It was. Like I said, it is a fun race. It's not necessarily part of the championship as such, but nevertheless, it's great to have races like these. It's a real tester as well for those looking to try and perhaps improve, and obviously it is a tester because obviously the drivers have to really scrutinise their strategical decisions. It really opens up doors on avenues, and if your race is over in the first stint, it's not necessarily over in the whole race, in the context of the whole race. Like we saw, Danny Berejnay, despite the spin earlier on as well, managing to recover to get a top 5. Which is truly unbelievable considering that he went wheel to wheel with Ronha and got uprighted heading through the S's.
Yeah, exactly. This is the whole thing with it being, I know this was technically a 50% race and whatever with the result, but through the entirety of the event thus far, through the season thus far, these 100% races, they are adding something special and exciting and different when it comes to strategy, especially once you throw in the weather as well. We've had a great, technically now 3 races of the championship, but I can't wait for the season to return and see who's going to win the next one. I will say, Bench Jarbe Konyi, over the opening couple of rounds of the season, and including this one, has been really impressive with his consistency. Yeah,
no, I think so. There's a few drivers that have been phenomenal in terms of their decision making. I applaud Ronha going for the big and brave choice. On any other day, a couple of laps extra, I think that's a race win. Right there, I think his pace was unreal. If he continued hot lapping like he was in that last lap, for example, I think it wouldn't have been a foregone conclusion if for him to actually grab the race win, in a couple of laps' time. But obviously, due to the mere fact that we were on the final lap at that point, it just wasn't possible. But I applaud him for making that big decision because it takes a lot, for a driver to make that key call. But I suppose, given what was at stake, it wasn't necessarily a disaster for him because it's not like it's a championship race or anything.
No, exactly. It is one of those ones where you're looking at being like, if there was one more lap, I genuinely think he might have won. But can we also give the biggest of big shout-outs, not to you, George, not to me, not to Ronha or anyone like that, or even Zach Sweeney. He can get out of there. Let's give a big shout-out to Shaba Hagedis for being brave and going for the completely crazy decision of going on to slicks in the total wet. Respect and salute to you, sir.
Respect to him. He's going to be forever known as the walking contradiction, in my view.
Why not?
Verstappen helmet in a Mercedes, and he chooses to go on softs in the wet. Applaud that man. Incredible.
Pure respect.
Yeah, pure respect. It's probably going to come out now very shortly that he made a mistake or something like that.
Yeah. I don't care.
Never mind. It's fine. But yeah, incredible. Honestly, it was a tremendous race. A pleasure to watch. I don't think we've got any interviews, so we won't be worrying about that. But folks, I want to say personally a big thank you, each and every single one of you, on behalf of the entire championship as well. It's been a pleasure, obviously, to bring you all the action. It's been stellar. Great result as well for the Haas drivers. Ulas Azildrim taking the top step here. Should we call it a friendly? A friendly race? That's essentially what it is.
Why not?
Yeah, we'll call it a friendly. Not very friendly sometimes, but it is a friendly nonetheless. But yes, it was a tremendous result, certainly for Haas, and they'll look forward, I'm sure, to perhaps better ones in actual championship action. And if you want to check out WOR a little bit more in future, head across social media and check out World Online Racing. They are available on social media with all the updates concerning the championship, and you can also find them on Discord as well. Timbo as well, who's part of the Haas fraternity. He, of course, is the owner, should we say, the brains behind the 100% Ironman League, so make sure you check him out on Twitter as well. If you want to check me out, you can. George Morgan TV on social media. That's on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well. And Lewis, you have social medias as too. Share them out, my friend.
Yes, indeed. I apparently do have a TikTok, although I only upload hilarious videos of me talking rubbish about people like you, George Morgan. That is all Lewis McGlade 78. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube as well. Just Lewis McGlade on YouTube. And yeah, of course, on TikTok.
Fantastic. So there you have it, folks. That's another race in the books. We'll be back very, very soon for more. But in the meantime, take care of yourself. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.